because when you're saying at that point katika safari yangu natembea na wewe,
yes.
And you're praying that your dearly departed is actually walking with the Lord at that point.
And you also on your journey to see them off and on your journey back to where you came from, there's also the prayer that you will go back safely.
Kabisa. Mwenda Pole says, Vushere, fellow Kenyans, Sharon Ozi is it's a Bangladesh way. Calvin Batut, the only way to start your day today is also another beginning. I'm not going to say what. Mwenda Pole, Mwadhani Agosho. Mwadhani Agosho. Muriega renge. Mwadhani Agosho. Tusalimiane hewani, salimiane.
Salam.
Eric Vera Karisa, good morning, City and Eric. Okay, Anwar Omar, good morning. Karibuni sana, very many of you, and we appreciate your presence. Jimmy Mahoney was the first one to comment. Good morning, SpiceFM team and listeners. City.
Yes, please.
Fourth day of Proverbs from?
The Republic of Botswana.
Right.
Son-in-law, hasten. The marriage cattle are gone.
Son-in-law, hasten. The marriage cattle are gone. It's interesting.
Oh, this one is very interesting.
What?
Oh, it's extremely interesting.
Who is speaking?
Clearly,
The father-in-law?
this is, yes, the father-in-law, mother-in-law community that the girl comes from. Ulienda weka deposit. Still? Okay. Sasa wewe, si ulisema narudi? Sasa kama, ama wajua kuna traditions where the first thing you go unaenda unaweka lock kwa gate. So mtu mwingine hazirudi. Si ndio? Sasa kuweka lock.
So are they telling this son-in-law to come back quickly?
Now therein lies the question, and therein lies the conundrum that our esteemed guests will have to battle with.
Let's hear that
What
one.
exactly is going on here?
Yeah. What's playing out here?
Yeah.
Is it that the cattle you brought has been stolen? The cattle you brought has been eaten?
What is it about the cattle? And what's the significance of the cattle?
Yeah.
Yes. And why are you being asked to hasten?
Yeah. Hasten and do what?
Exactly.
Bring more? Come back?
Or come and take them?
Come and take them?
Chukua refund.
Or what is it?
Yes. Now that is what our guests...
Are you being told,
Bro,
style up?
This-
Sababu
this-
hatuna ng'ombe kurudishia.
hata hivyo, these spindly things will let hapa. You told us they will grow. Kumbe that is the full size.
That's what I'm waiting to hear. It'll be an interesting one. Higher. Let's look at the headlines. Let me start with the Standard this morning. Cabinet to hit the road after rubber stamped. It was a smooth sail in Parliament for 19 cabinet nominees in spite of hundreds of memoranda sent to MPs on their conduct and pending court cases. John Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi even high-fived members when they walked in to bid farewell to the House. Tomorrow, they'll be sworn in. No, it's today. These guys were writing this paper yesterday. They forgot we were reading it today. Today, they will be sworn in amid protest ruckus. The country's steeplechase future lies in small faith. Faith Cherotich, also known as to many as Small Faith, saved Kenya's blue blushes on what had appeared to be a disappointing outing for the athletics team by bagging bronze in the women's steeplechase finals inside the fully packed Stade de France on Tuesday night. Last night was a men's steeplechase. My friend.
You watch it?
No, nimeona tu watu wakisema vile ilienda. Nane. Civil servants put on notice. Government has warned public workers not to add fire to the demos by displaying opulence, as it cautioned them not to participate in the same. However, Gen Z youth say their march is still on. So civil servants have been told, kama uko na saa expensive, weka chini, usitumie. Waka hizo nini, viatu expensive na suit na nini, utumie
wewe vaa
weekend.
viatu, lakini vaa viatu ambayo it is clear imenunuliwa bata.
Na ni ile cheap. Na ile bata pia kuna good shoes.
Kabisa.
Higher. We are watching you. US warns Ruto on demos police brutality. A top US official condemned the state's violent suppression of youth-led protests, challenging President Ruto to match his commitment against rogue officers with action. Ms. Uzra Zaya said Washington is vigilant about Kenya's developing affairs. This is the one, the Undersecretary of State for Democracy, Civil Liberties, and what else was that one? Human Rights. Huyu ako Kenya, alikuwa Kenya. Whereabouts of released terrorist Grant unknown. There's a terrorist who was arrested a while ago. Anaitwa Grant. Ameachiliwa na hajulikani alienda wapi. Graft CBC films at festival. Sasa alienda wapi?
Sasa wewe ukiwachilia mtu, is it a job to follow up mjua alienda wapi?
It's important.
Why?
Because ataenda arudi tu papo nyuma ya tent.
No. The story here was that he was supposed to be repatriated aende kwao. Sasa kwao wanauliza yule mtu wetu
ako wapi?
Iko wapi?
See? The Nation headline. Ruto Raila deal faces litmus tests. Nane. President William Ruto's broad-based government, in which he has co-opted ODM leader Raila Odinga, faces its first test today as the youth plot a fresh round of demos in their continued push for governance reforms. The president has once again warned the protesters to shun violence, while the US has waded into the matter. Intrigues in rejection of CS nominee, a threat by the ODM to decline President Ruto's entire offer for cabinet secretary slots led to the approval of former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya by the National Assembly Committee on Appointments. The Nation can reveal, but Stella Langat, the gendered CS nominee, became the only one of the 20 to be rejected after MPs yesterday voted to adopt a report of the committee. So it appears like there had been a route to word saying, wewe Oparanya, maybe we don't approve. Watu ODM wakasema, no Oparanya, no broad-based. No Oparanya, no broad-based. Kambuwa sawa basi, si koni amjui jokes. Si sorry. Dongokundu bypass opens up the south coast for business. New road will reduce travel time and comes as a big relief for local residents and visitors. That's good news. No reprieve state admits fuel levy hike wiped away price drop at the pump. Talent drain. Kenyan-born stars who are chasing Olympic glory for adopted nations. And we are seeing them. We saw Winfred Yavi of Bahrain. We've seen Lorna Chemtai Salpita of Team Israel. We've seen Nora Jeruto of Kazakhstan. Nora Jeruto is a citizen of Kazakhstan.
Don't joke.
Akienda primary school.
Hapa tu.
Amesikia kitu kama Kazakhstan.
No.
Now she's a citizen of Kazakhstan.
That is how it works.
Yes.
Na hapa Bahrain na sisi Qatar. Tuko namna hii.
Tumejaa.
Wengi.
UASU, that is the University Academic Staff Union, says bring back KEMA or face strike. And then also staff at Moi University to start a go-slow over salary delays. Okay. What's in the Star, the Business Daily? I'll tell you the people.
Tell us about the people.
The people. Public views were hot air in vetting. House team dismisses memoranda by Kenyans raising queries on integrity of candidates, and they gang up to approve 19 Ruto cabinet picks set to be sworn in at break of dawn today. Oh, where? Ishongwa said 656 submitted memoranda did not meet the requirement of the Public Appointments Act. Junaid Mohammed, the new minority leader, said the committee spent many hours to check on the suitability of the candidates. If a nominee is incompetent, the committee cannot do anything but reject. Okay. Police warm up to face Gen Z demos. Wanafanya warm up. And then consumers face return of price controls. There's a bill that's been proposed and it's gone to the National Assembly that is actually seeking to reintroduce price controls. That would be an interesting one.
It will.
Star.
Top right-hand corner, until green. Insufficient knowledge. Why vetting committee rejected gender CS nominee Soy. This is a story on page 7. And they say what is dominant is that they say the nominee is unsuitable for the position to which she was nominated, that she was unable to respond in a satisfactory manner to the queries raised during the approved hearing. I'm actually holding my tongue. I'm holding my tongue. Yes, Pasaris. How I won the battle with mental illness. Did you know that some of the things your child does could be a result of mental disorders? Woman Rep. Esa Pasaris has revealed she fought mental health challenges as a child. Yesterday, she narrated how she battled dyslexia, attention deficient hyperactivity disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder.
She had all those three.
This is what they have written here.
Wow.
Whether she had them is a different matter, but that's what has been indicated here. What nurses will take home under new CBA? Are they aware that doctors also had a CBA? Anyway, to endelea tu, everybody in their own CBA. Now nurses will earn their higher salaries over this year once the government implements the recently signed collective bargaining agreement. Okay, that's aspiration. We wait for it. In the middle of the paper, Trim SRC had abolished most of the allowances to rational wage bill. Big battle as PSC restores scrapped civil servants' perks. That's bang in the middle of the paper.
So SRC had said, no, let's remove some of these allowances.
Then SRC said, yes, let's remove them. Let's return them back.
Walking in allowance, stepping out allowance, sleeping allowance, waking up allowance, going out of town allowance, coming from town.
Walking sideways allowance, sleeping on your back allowance, yes. Smiling allowance, waving at wananchi allowance, blocking the roads with your big black SUVs allowance, and every other allowance that you know of.
Dealing with a very annoying citizen allowance.
Yes.
Wataka nini? Huzipanga line?
Enduring the troublesome population that you have to deal with on a daily basis allowance. Right, that is what we have here.
Okay.
Then there's a picture of the president, the deputy, the governor of that county is called Embu. Okay, Ruto faces Mount Kenya as split with Gachagua widens. You know, why is this news? See, it continues widening. Why are we being told it's widening?
Yeah.
Huh? See, if it widens, if it's going to split, let it split. Anyway. What am I supposed to look at again? The Business Daily. All right. This one is interesting. Huh? State saves 1.3 million borrowers from loan defaulters listing. New individual negative records fell to a new low of 933,551 in 2023. Deadline due to CRB regulation reforms. What are they talking about?
Right.
Lenders have removed more than half of personal loan accounts from negative listing in the past 5 years to December 23 on the back of key state interventions, including partial debt cancellations and outlawing listing of small ticket loans. Okay? Supposed to be a good thing. Treasury snubs De La Rue in new currency printing deal. Okay, remember this thing of De La Rue print, De La Rue don't print. De La Rue print, De La Rue don't print. And remember, as we're having this conversation here, the government owns a 40% stake in De La Rue.
In De La Rue.
Yeah, now what has happened? Kenya has turned to an undisclosed German firm for printing of new notes months after allowing the local subsidiary British printer De La Rue, in which it owns a 40% stake, to shut down for lack of new orders.
Very good.
So De La Rue shut down, German firm comes in, new notes to be printed.
What stake are we taking, the German firm?
This is not mentioned here.
Okay.
All right? But when it's mentioned, we will also mention it.
Okay.
Right.
And are they coming to take over that? Maybe. They'll just come and take over the place that De La Rue was operating from.
These are things we wait to see. And I don't understand. What was De La Rue doing? They didn't put enough blue in it. They didn't put enough grey in. I mean, what happened? Are these guys coming with more red and more black? What's happening?
Yeah.
Are they offering a better deal, or have they been known to print better notes, faster, quicker? Remember, like that machine that we bought in for printing new passports? Supposed to print in, God knows, some enormous number in a very, very short time. Remember that one?
Yeah, Kithure Kindiki says they've cleared that backlog. So ukitaka passport na kaa tu hapo chini unaprintiwa. Hebu print pili. Mko watu wangapi? Print pili hapo.
Ngoja hapo baba. Ngoja tu hapo. Usiende mbali. Okay.
Hii imetoka na rangi mbaya. Print ingine. Chap like that.
Si ni sawa? Si ni light blue. Hii ni sawa. Hii ni passport ya Kenya. Unaonaje wewe?
Hii picha
imetoka sawa?
Haijatokea sawa. Wacha tupige ingine kapo.
Unajua hii picha si yangu kwa sababu mimi ni dem na imetoka na beard. Okay.
Usijali. Run machine. Another one. That's how we read paragraph 2 and 3 of that story. Of this one, of the Treasury De La Rue.
Okay, let me read it for you, okay? The Central Bank of Kenya yesterday announced the development of even as Governor Kamau Thuge remained guarded on the name of the firm, how the tendering was done and how much will be spent on the deal. This publication could also not confirm if the sourcing of a new printer was through competitive or direct procurement. In response to a question from the media during the Post-Monetary Policy Committee meeting, Dr. Thuge said only the printing was being done by one of the best firms in Germany. This was no response to our emailed follow-up questions to CBK for the details. The development comes barely 19 months after De La Rue Kenya EPZ Limited, a notes printing firm in which Kenya purchased a 40% stake at 5 million pounds. Okay, in 2019, shut its plant in Nairobi and wound up operations. Germany has two prominent currency printers. Wait. Wachana hizo.
So, several things here. Number one, it was only 2019, just the other day, when the government bought 40% stake in De La Rue.
Yes.
By 2019, we were already having a conversation about whether to renew De La Rue or not.
We were.
So money was actually released from the National Treasury to purchase a stake in De La Rue.
Yes, in 2019.
And then now De La Rue no longer has business from the government of Kenya.
Yes.
But they were paid money for 40% stake.
They were paid.
820 million shillings was paid by the government of Kenya.
Yes.
5 years ago.
Yes.
For purchase of a 40% stake in De La Rue.
820 million, that is the shilling equivalent of 5 million pounds.
And now they no longer have business.
No, they no longer have business, but we bought a 40% stake. So what do we do with our stake?
Now we've gone for one of the best in Germany.
Yes.
I see.
I mean, when you read this story, does it not remind you of all the phrases, the colorful phrases people use to describe what we're reading here? Let me think of something which is milder. Poppycock. Yes, page 2 of the story. Same thing.
But 820 million shillings was paid.
No, we paid.
In 2019.
We paid.
Just the other day.
Yes.
2019 we were here. We were on air.
Yes.
820 million shillings.
Down the road, we had the
in
PPP.
2019, we were talking about whether De La Rue was going to get their contract renewed or not.
And we bought a 40%
But
stake.
we bought a 40% stake.
Yes, we did. And here we are with our 40% stake.
And now we have cancelled this contract.
Yes, the 40% stake had turned into eggs, and it's in our face. Okay?
So 820 million shillings. Please bear that in mind.
Yes. So it's just gone. So that this German firm, which among the is called Bundesdruckerl GmbH and Gishek Devrient, I'm just going to read it as written. I'm not going to try and even pronounce it. GmbH. One of those firms, I mean, poppycock. Does this thing make sense to you?
Maybe it will. One day.
20
minutes to 7. Let me tell you about traffic.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
What? My head is aching, shoulders paining, and it's like I'm adding weight very fast.
Now, by the way, see, I thought you are...
Nilifikiri umefanya ile kitu. No, I know what you are thinking. I'm not pregnant. Not now.
Now, when you haven't heard about Aga Khan Hospital, they have a wellness program.
Aga Khan University Hospital has made medical checkups more available through their subsidized wellness package at 9,950 for a comprehensive medical checkup. Don't wait for a health scare. Do your health check at the Aga Khan University Hospital clinics in your neighborhood today. Get your vitals checked today. Call 0111 011 888 for more information.
Hiya, Basi. So, traffic is looking okay right now coming into the city. What I want to know is, and I want to check any updates, please let us know where are roadblocks, because I hear there are some roadblocks. There was one in the morning as you're coming into town at City Cabanas. So if there are roadblocks anywhere, let us know where they are, and then we'll also let people know about them. But in the meantime, roads are not looking bad at all. None. In fact, you just come to town. Tupatane, tuongee.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
Now
Nairobi.
listen to these. The government will soon have powers to set prices for essential goods in a bid to stabilize prices and protect Kenyans from exploitation of if a new law is enacted. The Price Control Essential Goods Amendment Bill 2024, sponsored by nominated Senator Tabitha Mutinda, if passed, will give the government the authority to set retail and wholesale prices for key commodities. According to this proposed law, the essential commodities defined in the bill include maize, maize flour, wheat flour, rice, cooking fat, cooking oil, sugar, and prescribed pharmaceutical drugs. It says the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary shall, by order in the Gazette, fix the minimum and the maximum retail and wholesale prices for the essential goods. The bill, which has been introduced in the Senate for the first reading, seeks to amend the Price Control Essential Goods Act of 2011 to regulate the prices of essential commodities in order to secure their availability at reasonable prices for all Kenyans, especially the low-income earners. Apart from the listed commodities, the bill states that the Cabinet Secretary may, from time to time, by order in the Gazette, declare any goods to be essential commodities. The proposed law also seeks to prevent sudden variations in price of essential goods that may lead to decrease in purchasing power and a decline in overall consumer welfare. There were those days that used to be there in the for price controls, right, up to the 80s, and now this bill is seeking to reintroduce that and say these are essential goods: sugar, unga mandas, unga chapat, unga ugali, unga uji, mahindi, and so on and so forth. Na mafuta ya kupika na mafuta ya salad.
Udo. Ila salad oil.
All right. What do you think of that? Now, there's been a lot of criticism that has come.
If we were not in the dispensation we were in, I would be of the opinion that the government is probably trying to shoulder its citizenry from the harshness of just daily living. But given that we are in the climate that we are in, I cannot remove my mind from the possibility that we're just being kept busy. If you bring in this new story of price control, then you whet people's appetite into thinking that they will now be able to afford a living. That's why I said, ordinarily, that would be a wonderful thing, and you'd say, at last, the government seems to have understood that it needs to protect its citizens, okay? But given what we are seeing now, it can't be the only thought that I will entertain. But whether it is a good thing or not, I will wait to see how it is implemented.
To be clear, it's a private member's bill. It's been proposed by nominated Senator Tabitha Mutinda. So it's not a government bill, it's a private MP's bill. But then such a bill, as long as it's published, it goes into the first reading, it goes through the rigors of Parliament like any other bill. Now, the issue would be, what are the benefits of such a bill? What would be the downsides of such a bill? Former Senator Bill Okoh tweeted and said, price controls back to 1992 KANU days. If this bill goes through, it will end economic liberalization and free market economy.
Unfortunately,
he says it will also usher in the attendant rent-seeking and corruption in the corridors of power big time. More significantly, it will kill investment and our competitiveness in the region. Completely misplaced.
Ask the question, get the answer. We have had what we are referring to the free market. What benefit has it been to the citizenry of Kenya?
They say that competition is one that then ends up bringing the prices down because there's competition. So everybody who comes in sees, if CT is selling this and I can see his margins are maybe 20%, I can cut that and go 18% and go cheaper to the markets. And then there's the competitions authority, which is observing and seeing whether if you guys cartel up and put a price, fix a price, it comes and slaps you. So it says, let the market decide. If you fix, then do you take into consideration all the other attendant factors?
You do. There are certain commodities which, if you're to safeguard your citizenry, whether it is a staple food that they export or that they need, it is important for you to intervene. That is what countries do when they want to protect their citizenry. That you must do. On the other hand, when you talk about the free market and what it does, in this country it has been abused resolutely, okay? Whether it is sugar, and I had to mention sugar first, whether it is sugar, whether it is oil, whether it is whatever you want to call it, we have used the free market to actually disempower and injure our citizenry. Okay, it's not complicated. Yes. So a middle ground, if one were to pursue it, what would it be? This is where the experts, the economic experts coming and tell us this is how we would pursue it, this is how we would go about it. Yes. I am not confident that something that sounds good will end up being good. That is really what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay. Hi, tell us the story.
I will tell you a story. You know, this one, on page 34 of The Nation, okay? I'm looking at the steeplechase, and it was a 1-2-3 Kenya win. Yes, definitely. Everybody who was in that race, if you look at it carefully,
They are Kenyans.
these are, yes, I mean,
Only that.
Only that they have taken
They are
different
not running for
citizenships.
Kenya.
Yes, they're not running for Kenya. And as we know full well, you are allowed dual citizenship in this particular country. You can be Bahrain, you can be Kazakhstan, you can be Israeli. We thank you for representing us in those particular countries. But indeed, when you have a situation of this sort, where Kenyans have sought citizenship elsewhere and have done a pretty good job of representing their then adopted country, or adoptive country, that's the word. And then it tells you something that those who are in leadership should understand. One, it's a good thing that these boundaries don't hold people, but it's of equal interest that the citizenry have realized where their best interests lie, and they will pursue it. Yes, and they will not wait for you.
Yep.
Right, now, but let me look at something else, shall we? Right. I'm going back to that story of the Treasury and Delarue. Why is it that something this serious and something that concerns our lives and our livelihood on a daily basis, why is it that everything about it is only known at the time when we're being told that we are going to be printing our money from this particular entity? How is it that we didn't know about the process of tendering? We didn't know the process of determining who is best. Okay, the German firms may be as good as you say. Are they the only people who can print money? Number one, are there no people in this country who can print money?
In this country?
Yes. They are.
Okoh?
There are entities, yes, that can print money.
That have printed money?
Yeah, they can print.
Well, not those ones that are raided by police all the time.
No,
and
I
you
am
find them
not.
at
I
your
am
notes.
not. I am not. I am not.
There are people who can print money. Yes,
I am
in Kenya, yes,
no.
but surely
No.
we want legal tender.
I am not referring to people who have colored photocopiers. Not those ones. Those are not the ones I'm referring to.
Business legit.
Legit kabisa. Look like kabisa. Hii ni kama shilingi ile halisi. Haiko mbali na shilingi. No, I'm not referring to those ones. I'm using the opportunity to point out one thing. Why this cloak and dagger with things that are important? Did we not hear yesterday, not at last week, yesterday, this Ambani group who are being questioned about the airport, Kenya Power, is it KPLC, okay, are supposed to have gotten into a deal with them to do something that we have been informed on numerous occasions is necessary, okay? But something this important, surely, should we not know? Or is it that we will only know about it when the ink is dry?
This is a security matter.
Security what?
It's a top security matter. I mean, these are top security issues. So you just do, even that you don't do at your open tender. How much are you going to charge us to provide? No. These ones are...
For something that we're going to pay for, we need to know. Because if there's a debt, we will pay for it. Now, you want me to pay for something and I don't know how it is you procured it on my behalf.
First of all, you've lost 820 million shillings.
It's gone voop. Voop. And that's what they've written. We don't really know how much actually went. And there's no, you will look and say, look, okay, how much are we going to spend this time? You're giving some figures here, but then is it comparative? Look, on such a matter, surely, should we not have more clarity?
And that's why the journalists were asking the central bank governor, Kamau Thuge, okay, so what is this? And he was not forthcoming with information. The call here is that the central bank governor actually now calls a media conference specifically to address the issue of currency printing and says, so this is a situation. Delarue in the country has had this deal for X number of years. These are the challenges we started encountering in Delarue, if any. This is what happened when we paid for the 45% stake. They were to give us 40%. Walitupatia has due paper. So we realized that there's not much value. They had overvalue or whatever. Tell us about that. Then come and say, so for that reason, the government decided to shop around for another credible printer. We considered A, B, C, D, E, F companies. And we were looking for this and this and this and this and the other qualities. And we settled on this one because It is. It cannot just be, it is German. It is best.
No.
There have got to be other reasons, right?
So other countries also print their money. Yeah. And the citizens are happy with the money that they print, even if you have to carry it with a wheelbarrow. Okay.
Apparently, there was some horse trading that was happening on in the committee. The threat by ODM to decline President Ruto's entire offer of cabinet secretary slots led to the approval of immediate former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya by the National Assembly Committee on Appointments. The Daily Nation can reveal the approval was a culmination of a 4-hour closed-door horse trading by the team chaired by House Speaker Moses Wetangula. Oparanya is tipped to be the cabinet secretary for cooperatives. He has been appointed as cabinet secretary for cooperatives. He'll be sworn in 2 hours' time. Initially, it was agreed that the committee would take less than 30 minutes to approve the generic report that had been prepared by the parliamentary staff recommending the approval of all the nominees for appointment. The committee retreated to a closed-door meeting where the entire secretariat was ejected from County Hall chambers, leaving the members to haggle over who to be thrown out. Not who to approve, who to be thrown out. While the ODM side of the committee reportedly had no issues with the nominees, it wasn't aware of the card that the Kenya Kwanza side was planning. The government side was of the view that Ms. Stella Langat did not perform well during the oral interview and therefore did not merit to be approved for appointment as Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage CS. While giving the notice of motion on the report to the House moments after tabling it, Leader of the Majority Kimani Ichung'wah said, taking into consideration the findings of the Committee on Appointments in its second reading report laid on the table, the House approves the nominees and rejects the appointment of Stella. Kenya Kwanza side went further to suggest that Oparanya's nomination be rejected on account of his problems with EACC. No. EACC had written to the National Assembly clerk opposing Oparanya's nomination, saying he has pending corruption investigation, a matter he has challenged. Higher. Now, a member who's of that committee is telling the writers of the nation, it was at this time that Junet sprung up and said, either the committee includes Oparanya among the nominees recommended for approval or ODM walks out. No Oparanya, no broad base. Mohammed did not respond to inquiries on the incident. The approval by the Wetangula committee now paves the way for the swearing in of the nominees today. Hii story ilikuwa ina promise iko na leakage na ina.
You know, the thing is, this is what depression is made of. Because it's this is the stuff that
What stuff? The story or the goings on or
everything including the outcome, because essentially we've been told to go suck a lemon as citizenry. This is what you call a coup d'etat. People who you elect to do your bidding have actually turned the tables on you, and they are doing what they like, and they're telling you to lump it. They are telling you, you suck it in if you want. Nothing is going to change. We're going to do exactly what we want. So
Hivi.
we've been told,
Kama hamtaki mkae,
sasa shauri yenu,
mkubali,
kwendeni mkimbie uchi, shauri
mumeze,
yenu. You do what you want.
mteme, shauri yenu.
This message cannot get clearer. So get depressed for around 10 seconds
And then
move on and say, okay, we've been told. You don't need to be told a second time. This is it. You've been told. Hear it. Nothing has changed.
You know, so the matter of the EACC investigation, you remember, Oparanya had gone to the EACC, spent many hours, came out, and already his supporters had already gathered at EACC sometime last year, right?
Yes.
And then he came out on the address and said, they were asking me a couple of questions I didn't understand. EACC sent a file to the ODPP. The DPP perused the file and said, yes, there's grounds here to charge Governor Oparanya. Okay? What was it about? Apparently, the county government of Kakamega had given a contract to a company. Okay? So company given contract to do some work. Then it also appears that there's some money that has been paid from this company to Oparanya's lawyers. Okay? Oparanya's lawyers then take this money and they go and buy a property in Nairobi, in Karen. So ESCC are tracking and saying, company given contract. Money comes from company. Money goes to Oparanya's lawyers. Oparanya's lawyers buy house in the name of Oparanya. What does that tell you?
That Oparanya has bought a house.
Okay. And the money he has bought is come from?
His lawyers.
And the lawyers
the lawyers got the money from this company that was given a contract.
Yes.
So, okay.
So the link here is, did this company that has been given a contract by the county government of Kakamega, was this a kickback?
That is a question that is being asked.
Property, and that was now the accusation that ESCC had. However, this same company went to court, and they sued Oparanya and said, we have given Oparanya a loan and he has not paid this loan, 22 million shillings. And the court said, Oparanya, you are guilty of taking a loan from this company and you're not repaying. Can you repay? Oparanya's lawyers wrote to DPP and said, well, you can see. In fact, this was a loan. Oparanya was not being bribed. Oparanya had just taken a loan from this company. In fact, there's a court case. As you can see, there's a court order.
You've taken a loan from a company that you've given business. And we're supposed to believe that.
So the DPP believed it. The ESCC said, now that's where the back and forth is. But 7 a.m. News time. We'll look at it in greater detail later.
Spice up your life.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamera. New cabinet secretaries are expected to be sworn in this morning following their approval by the National Assembly. The 19 cabinet secretary nominees will take the oath of office at State House, Nairobi, upon appointment by President William Ruto, who reconstituted the new cabinet after dismissing some. The legislators rejected Stella Langat, who had been nominated to the gender docket. The amendment to save her nomination, proposed by Vihiga woman Representative Beatrice Adagala, was withdrawn at the last minute. He is the House Speaker, Moses Wetangula.
So having called all those 19 names, now I put the question, as members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Order 2 rejects the appointment of Ms. Stella Soy Langat as the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Gen Zs are expected to hold protests today, which they've termed as their final attempt to liberate the country from the claws of the Kenya Kwanza regime. Speaking at a press conference in Nairobi on Wednesday, the youth led by Kasmuel Makori said the protest, dubbed Nane Nane March, will be the mother of all demonstrations in recent times. Makori said they'll march to State House where they'll seek to oust President William Ruto, whom they accused of failing to address their grievances.
Nane Nane will be able to birth a new nation, and it is going to be our final day in the street as we march towards a new republic. Nane Nane. Kabla ya saa nane na dakika nane. I want to assure you that the spirit of the Kenyan youth remains unbowed. Viva comrades, viva!
Meanwhile, President William Ruto has come under increasing pressure from the U.S. government to prosecute security officers who've employed extra-legal tactics to crack down on peaceful protesters. Less than 2 weeks after the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken passed a similar message to him on the phone, his Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, Uzra Zaya, delivered the message to him in person.
I encourage President Ruto to take concrete action on his recent public pledges to strengthen rule of law, champion anti-corruption initiatives, and advance accountability within his own government. I think the key question is the implementation of these commitments into action. And one specific area, which I highlighted in my opening remarks, is the importance of investigating reports of security force abuses, prosecuting those found to be responsible, and ensuring that accountability is achieved.
The Kenya National Union of Teachers, or NAT, and the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, or KUPPET, have threatened to call for a nationwide teachers' strike if the Teachers Service Commission fails to implement 6 resolutions they demand to be addressed. He is NAT's Secretary General Collins Oyu.
Kenya National Union of Teachers and KUPPET have given Teachers Service Commission 7 days. 7 days. Siku saba to address each of these to the satisfaction of our members, failure to which we shall set in motion plans for a nationwide strike starting Monday, 26th of August.
Among the issues that the two unions are demanding TSC to implement are full implementation of the 2021-2025 CBA, conversion of JSS teachers to new employment status, and immediate confirmation of all current intern teachers to permanent and pensionable terms with the remittance of their full salaries for the month. Furthermore, the unions blame TSC for reducing their appropriations for the teachers' medical scheme in the current financial year. US President Joe Biden has said he's not confident there will be a peaceful transition of power if Donald Trump loses the presidential election in November. In his first interview since he dramatically dropped out of the race last month, Biden told CBS News, and I quote, "If Trump loses, I'm not confident at all." End of quote. Trump's comment that it would be a bloodbath for the country if he loses the election, made as he was talking about the auto industry in March, triggered a wave of criticism. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, so there are several roadblocks that have been erected, and the police are, yes, they are allowing vehicles to pass. It's just that there are roadblocks. So when you get to a roadblock, it's okay. Just be calm, be patient, be peaceful, pass, and go about your business wherever you're going. Otherwise, there is no traffic right now in the CBD. Coming into the CBD, there's no traffic into major parts. Even Landis Road is not looking so bad. Jogoo Road is not bad. Mombasa Road into town is not bad. Langata Road is not bad. It's only bad at Airport View Estate. That's around the area that Langata Road has an issue. Thika Superhighway is not bad. As you approach the Muthaiga interchange, it's actually very, very clear this morning. Kiambu Road is also very clear this morning. Inaonekana leo, it'll be open roads everywhere.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
A very good morning to you, and thank you very much for tuning in to the Situation Room, Kenya's the biggest conversation. Today, being the 8th day of August 2024, it's Justice Thursday. We have a Justice Thursday conversation. We try to have conversations around justice and justice-related matters every Thursday morning, and we'll have one today, bail and bond. We've had a conversation on bail and bond before. We want to continue with that conversation again with the Honorable Tito Gesora, who is the Chief Magistrate of the Makadara Law Courts, and the Honorable Muthoni Njage, who is Principal Magistrate and CSO National Coordinator. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Your honors.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Karibuni. This is the hot seat of the Situation Room.
No, these are the hot seats of the Situation Room.
Yeah. Welcome. Now, let me ask you, Honorable Gesora.
Yes.
You look very healthy. When did you last do like a whole comprehensive medical checkup?
In February.
Very good. Very good. Honorable Njage, when?
March.
Ah, very good. Very good. You people are switched on.
Completely.
So what do they check? Angalia oil, angalia pressure, angalia
Everything.
Ball joint.
ball joint.
Everything.
Checked everything.
So comes up.
Liver function, kidney function, blood pressure, everything, literally.
Blood sugar.
Urine, blood sugar, whatever. Everything. Zote.
How long does it take?
It took me like about 2-4 hours, but if you include the time for waiting for results, so around 3-4 hours.
Yeah, yes. Including the time for waiting for the results.
Yes.
And then once you get your results, then you go back to the physician.
Yes.
And you're going through it with them.
Yes.
And what do they tell you, Honorable Njage?
So they just run through all the results one by one, which is very nerve-wracking. Tell you, okay, so the sugar is okay, this is okay, this is okay. If there's something wrong, they'll tell you. Yeah, that we need to address this.
Damu yako imeanza kuwa blue.
Yeah, we need to address this.
No macho inaonekana red.
Yes.
Yes.
Then they'll start asking whether you're sleeping enough.
Yes. Uko na pressure. Kuna mtu anakusumbua. Nyumbani uko aje? Now, that conversation is what we're having, courtesy of the Aga Khan University Hospital. They're saying, well, everybody, please, take it up upon you as an important thing to go for annual and regular medical checkups. And with only 9,950, you can go to any Aga Khan University Hospital clinic that's near you and tell them, I want a comprehensive medical checkup. And just like you've heard from their honors this morning, it's simple, it is not painful. It's you go in there, you do the test, and then you're told if there's something that you need to change, if there's some things that you need to start working on in terms of your lifestyle, your diet, your exercise, your pressure, the people around you. If you need to, move out of your neighborhood for a bit.
You need to go and visit your parents and visit your relatives a bit.
It's important. You need to take a break from work a little bit, It's important. They tell you all these things, and it's good for your health. Senior City.
No, it's actually really, really good for your health. And the reason why it's good for your health is in the unlikely event that something is noticed to be not quite right. You see, now you know. Whenever you hear, so-and-so was suddenly hospitalized. Yes, the hospitalization is what is sudden. What took them there wasn't sudden.
Yeah.
It was always in the making, and it is these tests that tell you that this thing is within you.
Yes.
The disease doesn't land on you on that day. It's been resident, comfortably enjoying your body, and then when it decides to manifest is when you're taken to hospital in a rush in an ambulance. So to avoid all this, all you need to do is go to any Aga Khan outlet. Now, you've already had your test. Now, those of your compadres who probably feel because, well, I am young. When you're young, that's what you tend to feel. Or, I'm old, but I go to the gym. Go to the gym by all means. Be old as much as you like. But do have a check up. It is important.
Get as old as you want. Why don't you welcome them with the day's Proverb City?
Yes, the whole of this week we've been looking at proverbs from the Republic of Botswana. Last week, this week, and the following week, we've been looking at landlocked countries. Now, this is a question we ask our guests so that we can test just a little knowledge. Little. Mention one landlocked country, and don't mention Uganda.
Chad.
Mm-hmm. Central African Republic.
You sure? Try another one. Do not worry, I also didn't do geography. Maybe beyond Form 2. This knowledge I acquired when I was researching on this thing. So I sound knowledgeable, but it's because I've been reading.
Oh, yeah. Ethiopia.
Okay. You're not doing too badly. At least you know 2 countries in Africa. This is good. No, you're okay.
At least you're aware.
Yes, that is. Ethiopia.
You are right even on the Central African Republic.
Yeah. You're very right, actually.
Yes,
but it's good to pull it.
I know what you thought. It has to be somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. And Central is middle.
And then you mentioned Chad. I was like, yeah.
And Chad is just above. Yes.
Okay, the proverb?
Son-in-law, hasten. The marriage cattle are gone.
Son-in-law, hasten. The marriage cattle are
gone.
Mm-hmm. Start, Honorable Gesora. What's your interpretation of that proverb?
Son-in-law, hasten. The marriage cattle are gone. I can't even do it. I never even imagine you would say something like that.
We were trying to figure out what is this. First of all, what's just the literal translation of this? What is the proverb saying? Son-in-law, hasten. The marriage cattle are gone. What do you think, Honorable Jackie? What's happening here? Who's talking to the son-in-law?
And by the way, you cannot be wrong. When you ask for your interpretation of a proverb, it is your interpretation.
I think I'm overthinking.
Yes.
So there's an in-law speaking.
Right.
Okay.
And there's a marriage situation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. And what do you think they're saying? At what point will you say that the marriage cattle are gone?
What does that mean?
You never finish dowry.
Mm-hmm.
You never finish dowry in most African societies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably just a reminder that, please, son-in-law, don't forget that you've got relatives on this side. And you need to come every so often and see us.
That is a beautiful interpretation.
Yes.
Very beautiful interpretation. Give it a stab.
She's still overthinking.
No, I think also it could mean that... okay, let me just think like a woman.
Please.
So it could mean that probably this son-in-law is not paying much attention, or his attention is diverted. So he's being told to just hasten before the bride takes off.
Good interpretation. On a scale of 1 to 10, you both gotten 10.
Wow.
It's interesting.
Yes, because with a proverb, it's how it resonates with you. Yes, it's not whether is it right. It can't be wrong. Yes. The only time it might be wrong is if you say, well, these guys have replaced the cows with a donkey. Now that
Okay, let's get into our conversation. Today we want to talk about bail and bond and just getting to understand what bail and bond means and what the terms are, all right? But let's begin with the Chief Magistrate of the Makadara Law Court. You're the head of station?
Yes, by the
Okay.
grace of God.
What does that... Makadara is a very, very, very busy court station.
Extremely busy. I think the busiest in Eastern Central, if you asked me.
Eastern Central
Africa.
What? How many courts do you have there?
We have 10 courts. now. We used to have 11. Unfortunately, because of the incident that occurred there, we've lost one. So we have 10.
Okay.
Yes, we have 10.
Handling what kind of cases?
Criminal cases only. And then, of course, traffic and petty offenses. So we don't do civil. We don't do land cases. We just do criminal cases.
What's the bulk of the cases that come there?
Bulk, violent robberies, grievous harms, assaults, a lot of the sexual offenses and gender-based violence cases, obtainings by false pretenses, and of course a lot of illicit liquor. There's a lot of that. We've got lots of traffic cases also.
Nairobi kuna changa mingi hivyo?
Mingi sana. You won't believe it.
What?
You know, as you're speaking, I have to ask this question. Do members of your court, that entire system, do you people have a place where you debrief? Do you get psychological counseling? Do you get it? Because every single day you're either dealing with a murderer or a thief or a rapist or for heaven's sake.
Yes, our employer has been so gracious. We've got medical access to Chiromo, and every other time stations organize retreats for their members. So yes, we do get time to go back and lay back and not do the normal thing that we normally do, and just call in somebody to speak to us and help us.
It's not enough. You actually need to have people who talk to you, not every once in a while, systematically, periodically, after a month, person to person to person. Walk through what you've gone through, because everything you do, you internalize.
I agree.
Now, let's get on with this.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Jackie, we've introduced you as CSO National Coordinator. What does that mean?
All right, so CSO is basically community service orders. So it's an alternative sentence to imprisonment. So what CSO does is really just sentence when people are sentenced by courts to conduct unpaid public work. So unpaid public work is really could be clean out of drainages, just public, and it's unpaid as a form of sentence, as a form of punishment, exactly. So essentially the people who qualify for that are people who are being charged with petty offenses. Yes, so they perform that work for a period of time to a maximum of 6 months, and then it's supervised by probation officers. So what that means now, being the coordinator, is that I work together with probation officers. So I'm attached to the probation department for a period of time. And then there now we're able to coordinate that between the two state agencies, which is essentially Judiciary and the probation department, to ensure that the program is successful.
So a judicial officer will sentence somebody in their court
Yes.
to community service
Yes.
for 3 months. But the judicial officer is not going to say, I sentence you to slash grass in Kariako market for 3 months.
No.
It's just be to community service.
The probation officer will recommend the site that is available.
After the sentence has been passed?
No.
Or is it before?
Between the conviction and the sentencing, they provide a report to the court, and they will say this person is suitable.
These are our needs.
These are, yes, yeah, actually, that's a good way to say it. These are our needs. Probably we need Marikiti cleaned, or this school needs a landscaping program, and they recommend specifically and say, this person to perform this work, we recommend in this particular site.
How does the probation officer determine the needs?
They have work sites. They have CSO work sites within their... They know them. They are the ones who know them because they're the ones who supervise.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it that they are working with the schools? Are they working
Yes,
with the county? So the county tells them.
They know what is there in the community, isn't it?
Yes.
They know the schools, they know the hospitals, they know the markets. We have got people who work with ward admins. So they know where the projects are. They have done their research, they have listed them, so they know where to ask. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, they've got those people there who head those institutions to help them supervise the people.
Okay. Now, let's come now into the bond bail, and then let's see how then that ties in to community service. So introduce us, what is bond, what is bail? Well, police bond, cash bail. You never get to understand what these things are. Free bond. Yes.
So now, bail is an agreement. It's really an agreement that the accused or whoever posts that bail will come to honor either an attendance to court or an attendance before the police. And so they say that, yes, we are ready to forfeit a certain amount of money if we don't come. And many times, they actually deposit the money they have said they're going to forfeit. And so that forces them to have to come. Otherwise, they forfeit their money and they will be looked for and arrested. Bond is you guaranteeing your undertaking. It's an undertaking, really. Undertaking that you will appear as and when required, with or without a surety.
Repeat that again, please.
Saying that you undertake that you're going to come and appear before court at the time set or time given.
I, the accused.
Yes, you bind yourself.
I bind myself.
That you undertake that you will come to appear as and when you are required, and that can be with or without surety. Otherwise, you forfeit a certain amount of money that is set in the bond.
Explain surety.
A surety is an individual who comes and says, release Eric. And I assure you that I will ensure that Eric comes to court. If he doesn't come to court and if he absconds, I am willing to forfeit the amount that you have set.
I came to your courts once to do that. That is why I wanted to be sure.
Yes.
The relative of mine.
You are surety for someone?
Yes, there's a relative of mine who couldn't distinguish between what was his and what was his employer's.
The employer had marked them badly.
Yes. And they looked the same.
Yeah. So by mistake, he took what was an employer's.
Yes, he did. But the problem was it was more than one employer, so it became a bit tricky.
So when they say that somebody has been released on a bond of 500,000 shillings and the surety of a similar amount, what does that mean?
It means that the gentleman has, or whoever it is, the accused.
It's Eric.
It's Eric. Eric has bound himself, and the surety has come to assure that the money will be paid if it is required.
Okay.
And that surety has, if I'm your surety, I've come with my title deed worth that amount, or maybe my logbook, or just something that I deposit in court, so that in the event that you abscond court, we'll forfeit this particular.
I see.
And if you're not able to, then you serve a period of time. You can be sentenced to, you can serve the time, or you pay the amount that Eric was supposed to pay.
So the surety only risks losing the property that they've brought to court, or do they also
face jail time?
Even the surety?
Jail time.
Yes, because if you don't pay the amount, and if you don't produce the accused, and then we come to the property that you had put in.
There was a logbook.
Probably the car is, maybe you have done something, the car has disappeared, the car cannot be sold for that amount. you're not able to, make good your promise, then you can go in for 6 months.
So did you know?
Yes, it was explained to me. There was a very kind gentleman who explained all these things to me, and I asked what it is that I needed to provide as surety. They asked me what I did then. I told them I was an employee of a government parastatal. They asked me for evidence. I removed the ID, and they said, "Do you have a pay slip?" I said, "I had a pay slip." They looked at it and said, "Aye. Kuna watu wanalipa pesa hii Kenya." Yes,
and that was enough.
Yeah, it was enough. They said, you're
qualified.
You work for the government.
Yeah.
We can see. There's evidence. It is fine. We will take your word for it, but we'll keep a copy of this pay slip of yours, and your relative can go. But please assure him that he must distinguish clearly between what he owns and what his employers own.
Yes. The purpose is just to ensure that the accused person attends court.
Yes.
It's a form of security to ensure that he attends court.
That's it.
That's the purpose.
That's the
Because
purpose.
it is just saying you get this one or you go to remand.
Yes.
Yes.
It's to give you that freedom during that
Give
time.
you that freedom,
Yes.
and also to ensure you come to court.
Okay.
So in the alternative, because if you're in prison, for sure you will attend court. There is a vehicle that will
You
ensure
are
you
in a
attend.
state entity and you will go to the next.
You will come to the next one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always a state scholarship.
How does a judicial officer decide, first of all, whether to go for bail or bond, and then how much?
Most times you find that a judicial officer will give either or. You can say bond with surety in like amount, or in the alternative cash bail so much, right? And so it most times will be either or. And in small offenses you just give cash because sometimes the process can be a little bit tedious of verifying the documents that you have brought. And so it is either or. Someone may come and say, "I'm not able to meet either or. Please give it to me free." And I give you my word that I will come. So many times we engage the probation and aftercare services to go to the community, find out about the person. Does he have relatives? Does he have family support? Is he gainfully employed? Can he be trusted?
Does he have a fixed abode?
Does he have a fixed abode? You see? So once they bring this report, then you can tell that this person can be trusted to come back. Then you can say, okay, I give you a personal bond of Kenya shillings 100,000. You go and come. If you don't come,
you still put money into that thing.
No, it's a sum. You have to tell him that if he doesn't come, not only are we going to arrest you, but we are going to demand a certain amount from you.
If you don't come.
Yes.
Yeah. Back to ensuring you attend.
Okay. The whole idea is to make sure that you commit yourself to attending court or to police if you're required to go to police.
Yes.
Okay. Are the various bond and bail terms set in law, or is it just for the judicial officer to determine?
It's mostly discretionary, but we have a bail and bond policy, which we are guided by, which was launched in the year 2015. So basically, what the determinants are the nature of the offense, whether this guy is somebody who is a repeat offender, maybe this is not the first time he's been sentenced in court. Has he ever absconded before? Like, there are many other factors that we look at.
Is he likely to be a danger to the witnesses? Is he likely to be a danger to the witnesses or the community? Sometimes even complainants will come and say this guy is threatening us. We also obviously, there are so many factors that we look at. Is he safe?
Is he safe himself? Because there are guys you try release, people come and tell you, hey, we are waiting for him like this.
What?
Yes, so there are various, but we are really guided by the bail and bond policy, and also it's a constitutional right. Every accused person has a right to be released on bail and bond. Of course, whether there are compelling reasons or not is another matter altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll continue this conversation shortly. It's 28 minutes to 8. Our Justice Thursday conversation is underway. Today we are discussing bail and bond. Do you understand what they mean when you're told, wewe unaweka bail, wewe unatoa cash bail, wewe umeitishwa bond, umeitishwa body. Your body. Title deed. What do you understand what this all is all about, or what it means? That's why we have the Honorable Tito Gesora. He's the Chief Magistrate at what he says is East Africa's busiest court station, the Makadara Law Courts, and the Honorable Modoni Jage, the Principal Magistrate and the National Coordinator of the Committee Service Orders. We'll be back shortly.
Is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Hey, baba boy, gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob.
Hey.
20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mimi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui dakika mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Daka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila hour. Usipitwe. Cheza Daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account Spice amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka mita kuwa bingwa.
What? My head is aching, shoulders paining, and it's like I'm adding weight very fast.
Now, by the way, see, I thought you are...
Nilifikiri umefanya ile kitu. No, I know what you are thinking. I'm not pregnant. Not now.
Now, when you haven't heard about Aga Khan Hospital, they have a wellness program.
Aga Khan University Hospital has made medical checkups more available through their subsidized wellness package at 9,950 for a comprehensive medical checkup. Don't wait for a health scare. Do your health check at the Aga Khan University Hospital clinics in your neighborhood today. Get your vitals checked today. Call 0111 011 888 for more information.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
It's warming up in Nairobi, but still cold.
Up your life.
So there are some roundabouts somewhere. Honorable Gesora, you found a roundabout. A roadblock.
Yes.
Where on Langata?
On Langata Road at Amref.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Are they allowing people to pass?
Yes, but it's a bit slow.
Okay.
So it's a bit slow there. So because you have to, how you've
got to maneuver your way around
yes.
on
But
the roadblock.
there's a block there.
but they are not turning people back.
No.
Okay.
No, they're not.
So there's several roadblocks in several parts of as you get into the city. There's one at now you've heard this one. There's Langata Road. There's one on Ralph Bunch Road. That's what you said. On Abojaga, you found one there.
Yeah.
There's one at City Cabanas coming to town. So when you come across the roundabout, the police roadblocks, just be patient. You'll pass as long as you go where you're going. You'll pass. They're not turning people back. It's just going to be slowing you down. But there's no traffic today in many parts of the roads in the city.
Spice and everything nice. All right.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We continue our conversation for the next 22 minutes with the Honorable Tito Kesora, who is the Chief Magistrate of Makadara Law Courts, and the Honorable Mudhoni Njage, Principal Magistrate and Chief and National Coordinator of the Community Series Orders. City?
Mm-hmm. When people get arrested for whatever offense, I'm speaking anecdotally here, there are times one gets the impression that there are certain offenses that wait for certain days, like Friday. And there are certain arrests that wait for a certain time, like 2 p.m. Because the window to comply with the requirements of the court are then significantly reduced. For instance, if by the time you're arrested and processed, by the time you get before the magistrate, it's heading towards 4 o'clock. And if something is required of you, whether it's a bond, these legal requirements, and if it does require you to produce either some money or you're supposed to require to produce something of value, and you aren't walking with it or you don't have it on your person, it then becomes rather tricky for you to comply.
Mm-hmm.
How does one deal with this? I said, as a disclaimer, I'm speaking anecdotally. It's not as though this is planned. I'm just saying it appears that way.
It's just an observation.
It's an observation, yes. And not a very keen observation, just a general observation. Yeah.
Our institutions are independent institutions. Courts are independent with a specific mandate. Police have got their own mandate under the law. The Director of Public Prosecution has also his independence. So they decide. We wait. We do not say, okay, now bring these kind of things on a Friday afternoon only. We don't say that. The discretion when and where to charge remains with the relevant institutions. Yeah. Ours is restricted to waiting and hearing and determining on the basis of evidence whether this was right or not in the first place.
Do your stations, do the registries close, the bail and bond registries? Because then if someone has come to court and let's say they've gone before the judicial officer at 3 p.m. and you've told me, release me on a bond of 1 million shillings and a surety of a similar amount. Now I have to first of all look for the million bob, and then I need to be in contact with somebody to be my surety, and all these things will take time. Will I go to the registry and be told, by the way, boss, walienda kitambo kuja kesho? Does it happen?
Ideally it should not. We close our registries at 5 p.m. even on a Friday. But there are instances where you're not processed in time. That's the truth. For example, if you're brought into court at 4 and 5 o'clock reaches, honestly, you may not be processed in time. And sometimes I would call it systemic challenges. Yes, those ones are there, but ideally we close our registries at 5. Yes, whether Monday to Friday.
What do the guidelines say? Should this not be open? Should it not be extended?
24/7?
You mean 24/7?
Yes.
No.
No.
Look, justice does not have hours. And this is all in the interest of ensuring that you're delivering justice. So if, for example, a judicial officer has said, I give you bond of this amount, then it's in the furtherance of me getting justice that you also allow me to be able to perform here.
There are court times. Registry is open at 8 a.m., close at 5.
Why?
That's a set time.
It's a set, and we are the same. These offices are run by staff, including us. We
So
also
even
staff
police
of the
are,
judiciary.
police are on 24 hours.
Yes, police are on
police
24
are on
hours.
24 hours.
A time will come, and this idea has been mooted where we can have courts that run on 24-hour basis, even at night. And they have not quite, especially, I think there was a thought that JKIA court could be open because of passengers who are on transit. Maybe they are foreigners, they are on transit, a crime has been committed.
Yep.
So there is that thought, yes. But for the regular ones, like Makadara, Milimani, where it's Kawaida, the Kawaida court, time is 8 to 5.
Or at least just extend the time to 8 p.m. or something for this particular registry.
So look at it this way, Eric.
Okay.
You have got, this is an ecosystem.
Yes.
All right? You have got courts, you've got prison.
Yeah.
If the prisons have got time within which they must count their lockdown
receive remandees.
and receive the remandees, all right? If you don't do that, then it will spoil eating time, right?
Yep.
Remandees have to be fed.
Yep.
So if you disrupt that ecosystem, then you have a problem.
But police stations have holding facilities.
They have cells.
Yes.
Yes.
Some courts have holding facilities.
No.
No, they are.
We have just got holding cells, temporary holding cells while the case is going on.
Now, this is wonderful. What stops courts from actually having cells where people can spend the night? I'm venturing. This is not something that... You see, I'm asking the question that if you can't open an entire court like, say, the Makadara. What do I call it?
Madaraka.
The other place.
Makadara. The one I went to is Makadara. Okay, that one. Is it then possible to have a unit, for instance, that deals with cases that are late, or certain police facilities that then deal with certain cases? Because, again, it is clear that the process of arresting people does not have a timetable. The process of getting people to court is the one which has a timetable and a time. Because crime doesn't have a timetable that this crime will be committed at this time, so you're ready to commit and take to court. When it happens, those who are in charge of ensuring security do their thing, and they also go through the processes. I'm simply asking this. What threshold would we need to have in order for considerations to be made to go beyond what we now call the normal and regular times?
You are likely to interfere with institutional mandates. So courts will be there to not to hold people because they're not trained for that, they're not mandated for that, right? So if you say that you have facilities where people can sleep in court, then you will interfere with the institutional mandates.
Police stations that cater for this? Is it possible?
Yes, but you see, like prisons are more, trained and set for that.
They're the ones that are set for that.
Yes.
Honorable Gesora, you'll soon be a judge. And then you'll also sit in the JSC.
And as things go, you may even end up in the appellate court and become a Supreme Court judge.
Yes.
Anyway, continue, Eric.
The National Council on the Administration of Justice brings all these institutions together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that we can make sure that there's justice being served on all, and all institutions are then playing that game. These are conversations that can happen at the NCAJ and say, so you prisons, if there are people who are still in a court station, and your officers are the ones that are at the court station, they're the ones who are going to bring those people who need to be remanded, can keep your kitchen open until 9. You courts, you can keep the registry open until 8. All these things just to make sure that you're giving people that time. This is why I'm asking this, because I've heard very many times complaints of especially petty offenders who've gone to court and you have been slapped with a cash bail of 25,000 shillings. This person, mbele na nyuma, to quote the deputy president, hata ukitutoa guo utupige, they will not get that money. Not at that point, but they could try and raise it. So first of all, there is just allowing them that time, either to try and raise it, and then they walk home, because this is a mother who has children at home. This is a father who has children at home, and the mother works night shift. You know, all these kind of dynamics. You're disrupting a homestead and a secure family system because we have to close at 5.
I can tell you that when Honorable Chief Justice Mutunga was the Chief Justice, policy was formulated and brought and said that when a person has been charged and they given a cash bail, give them time to pay before you take them to custody. So they are given time, and if they want to sit somewhere in a corner of a court and make a quiet call for help, they should be allowed to do that.
Are they allowed to do that?
They are allowed to do that. So we tell them, let's say if it's a traffic offense, don't take to people if they are able to pay. In fact, if they are able to pay, they are not taken to the cells. You are given a chance and you're told, okay, you have the money, pay and go. So you're not taken to custody. Going to custody is a last resort. When the prison van has to leave in the evening at 5 and you have not been able to pay, we have no facilities to keep you here. Then we hand you over to the prison.
Prisons.
But during the day, if the plea was read in the morning at 9 a.m., you are given a chance throughout this day to see whether you can be able to pay.
Okay.
Yes.
If you get into that prison van,
yes,
and you go to the remand prison,
yes,
okay, because you have not paid, but you're in the, in the kisha tu hivi, then what happens tomorrow? How do you?
So if you pay, we ensure the money has come. We write what you call a release order. We give an order to
who is paying? Who is handling my payment? I'm in industry area.
If you have relatives,
industry area.
If you have relatives and they have paid, or you have somehow contacted a friend who has paid for you, we will prepare the release order. You will be given your friend will be given the release order. He will come to the gate of the prison and tell them, "Here's the release order for City. Please give him to me."
And he's released. Within the timelines.
Okay. I think let me come to you, Honorable Njage, because now this is where we are looking at petty offences, whether people are being committed to community service or whether they are, being taken to prison.
Yeah.
But this is community service comes at the end of a conviction and sentencing, right? This is a petty offender who did something will be considered petty. In the end, the punishment will be go and slash grass around the Makadara law courts.
Yeah.
But during this other time, the discretion of the judicial officer was, I give you bond of 10,000 shillings and a surety of similar amount. And this person is not able to raise 10,000 shillings. Where is justice here? How do we ensure that this person is not being slapped with something that they cannot really afford?
So there's also a bond review process, by the way. So if a person has stayed in custody for some time, usually if you're in custody, we mention matters every 2 weeks, whether in prison or in court. So every 2 weeks, a remandee must be produced before a magistrate. So at that point, usually, they apply for revision of bond. And of course, the magistrate can use their discretion and review it. Sometimes you need a bail report, pre-bail report, which is written by probation officers, and to list that this person, what my colleague had mentioned, that he comes from this place, we're able to trace him, he's able to come to court, the bond will be reviewed. In a scenario also where a person, when they are first brought to court, they plead guilty, there and then, of course, they'll be sentenced, and sometimes they're sentenced to serve community service for 1, 2 days, 3 days. They serve their time and they go away. So they're just, what do I say? The justice wheel is really, there's a spectrum that we are not able to say that these particular cases are the ones that go this way and these others are the ones that are determined this way. There's just a spectrum depending. For many petty offenders, the bond terms are lower, more lenient than for serious offences. For example, you can't compare the bond terms of a person who's charged with creating disturbance. You know, he just yelled around and called people bad names. You can't compare the bond terms for that person with someone who is charged with murder or with defilement. Yeah.
Or violent robbery.
For that matter, or terrorism.
Yes.
Yeah. So for petty offenders, generally, we are more lenient, and that's guided in the law. And which is different from...
There's something called reasonableness and proportion.
And it is determined by the judicial officer.
Okay.
Yes, it's a discretionary
I am
judicial
sure
role.
that both of you have had very many cases of complaints of unreasonable bail and bond terms.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm sure you've had it. And even you, when you listen, you're like, it's a bit too much. How do we address this? Because every one person... There's a case I remember we mentioned here a couple of years back of a lady in Thika who, and it was in the papers, stepped out of the house during COVID. There's a place where they go and dump. Stepped out of the house, went to what they consider the community dump site. Caught there by Kanjo. You're not supposed to be dumping here. Taken to court the following morning. Slapped with, I think, a 25,000 shilling, is it something like a cash or bond? Left her children at home that night, cannot raise this money the following morning. You'll ask yourself, okay, so what's the purpose here? Is the purpose to punish?
Absolutely not. The purpose is to punish. Like we said right from the beginning, the purpose is to ensure that if you grant your bail, you will come back. Is to assure you that you'll come back.
Yeah.
And there is a process of reviews. You can ask for a review, right? But you see, you have to consider the seriousness of the offense that has been charged. You consider the seriousness of the offense that has been charged, the likely punishment that this person is likely to get if found guilty. That will inform you whether it should be more or less. And if they say that, even if the offense is serious, and they say, I'm the sole breadwinner, I have children to take care of, please consider, I will quickly dispatch. Sometimes we can even put pressure on the probation officer. Say, please, I want this report this afternoon or in 2 days, right? We can put pressure on them to ensure that the report has come so that this person's children don't suffer. He said that in that case, you say that I have left my children all by themselves. Most courts will order the children officer. We've got the children's department. Children's officer for the area, go to the house of this lady and ensure that the children are taken care of.
Okay. We have this remand prison. It's called remand prison, isn't it? And many people who are told by people who've sat on these seats tend to be petty offenders. And a good number of people who are there are forgotten, meaning you were taken there for something or the other. This process that we're talking of, someone didn't come up, you didn't raise the money, so you're taken back there. Now, many of these people can't raise, or the people they know also can't raise, or maybe what they were involved in, the people they know are afraid to bring themselves in because they themselves may get themselves incarcerated. According to what we have been told, there are very many citizens who languish in prisons, and the matters that have kept them there never seem to be resolved. Do we have situations where these things are reviewed? Because we hear of Kenyans who are lost. You can't find them. Some of them may probably be in remand, or maybe were taken to, and somebody forgot, and that was it. I know this used to happen in the days when people were detained. It is said you're a threat, you're detained. The threat goes, but people forget that you actually didn't. Why? Because I'm simply saying, do we have a review process where we determine that those who have been incarcerated are actually there for the right reason and they ought to be there?
Two things I'll tell you about that.
Yes.
First of all, is that our prison system, I have not seen a more meticulous institution in terms of documentation like the prisons. They know everything. They are kept. And like we've said, there's like on Monday, coming Monday, the Chief Justice is going to the Nairobi remand to launch a process, a program for reviewing bail and bond terms, especially for petty offenders. And this is going to be something that's going to be happening periodically. We sit in a committee that has recommended that we do this on a quarterly basis. The policy is yet to be formulated on that, but we have set our recommendation. And so the Chief Justice will be there on Monday to launch that.
So
program.
just to kickstart this.
To kickstart.
A review of the current bail and bond terms guidelines.
Yes. Yeah. So she starts there, but the thing is going to cascade and go to the rest of the country.
And maybe just to add to what Chief is saying is that really what has informed that is just the congestion in prison. So the Chief Justice on fit within her blueprint to just come and like an intervening, do I call it an intervening measure? Just to come and just see what is happening in remand. And what has happened is that we have lists of the petty offenders who are remanded, especially in industrial area, Langata and there's Nairobi West. And that would be like let me call it a pilot.
Kumbe, you guys are in that committee, the one that we're talking about, the one that can make. So one of the recommendations here, public participation, open the registry until midnight. People will not end up going to congest in that area.
Or better still, open the registry, let people know the names so that people who are claiming relatives, the ones who got lost and you don't know where they went. Okay? Is it possible for that to happen? Just asking.
So just give
we
people more time.
We can recommend, and policy decisions will make at the appropriate level.
The appropriate level, yeah.
But asanteni sana for coming.
Thank you very much.
Please come again and let's keep talking about this.
Thank you very much for having us.
The Honorable Tito Kesora is the Chief Magistrate at the Makadara Law Courts, the busiest law courts
in East and Central Africa.
Including the Central African Republic. And the Honorable Modoni Jagi, Magistrate.
Spice up your life.
Coordinator at the Community Service Orders. 8 a.m. Time for the news.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. All eyes are on State House, Nairobi today as a section of young people have said they'll march to the House on the Hill to demand the resignation of President William Ruto. Speaking at a press conference in Nairobi on Wednesday, the youth, led by Kasmuel Makori, said the protest, dubbed Nane Nane March, will be the mother of all demonstrations in recent times. They termed the expected march as their final attempt to liberate the country from the claws of the Kenya Kwanza regime led by President Ruto, whom they accused of failing to address their grievances. The young people also had this message to police officers.
If we see unidentified men in civilian clothing riding in government vehicles that have obfuscated policies, we shall treat them as robbers. Have elucidated very plainly what our demands have been.
Chenye tumeamua tunaenda kufanya juu tunapigania haki ya mtoto wa kesho, mtoto wa jana na mtoto mwenye ako mpaka saizi.
This even comes as President William Ruto came under increasing pressure from the US government to prosecute security officers who have employed extra-legal tactics to crack down on peaceful protesters. Less than 2 weeks after the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken passed a similar message to the president over the phone, his Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, Uzra Zeya, delivered the message to him in person.
I encourage President Ruto to take concrete action on his recent public pledges to strengthen rule of law, champion anti-corruption initiatives, and advance accountability within his own government. I think the key question is the implementation of these commitments into action. And one specific area, which I highlighted in my opening remarks, is the importance of investigating reports of security force abuses, prosecuting those found to be responsible, and ensuring that accountability is achieved.
In Mombasa, there's heavy police presence at Uhuru Gardens as the country waits for the Nane March. It's thought protesters will gather there. Meanwhile, our correspondent in the city says businesses are expected to open as usual. Learning in all public schools could be paralyzed in a week's time if the government fails to implement 6 resolutions the teachers' unions demand to be addressed. Here are the Secretary Generals of the Kenya National Union of Teachers and the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, Collins Oyu and Akelo Mizori, speaking at a press conference on Wednesday.
The Teachers Service Commission discharged its legal responsibility and immediately remit the teachers' emoluments for July 2024, including basic salaries and allowances, and now the 2 unions demand the immediate confirmation of all intern teachers to be employed on permanent and pension.
The Commission must urgently make good its responsibilities to remit tax and other deductions made at source.
The union leaders insisted that they'll resort to industrial action if the government fails to implement their demands. Here's Uyu again.
Kenya National Union of Teachers and KUPPET have given Teacher Service Commission 7 days. 7 days. Siku saba to address each of these to the satisfaction of our members. Failure to which we shall set in motion plans for a nationwide strike starting Monday, 26th of August.
New cabinet secretaries are expected to be sworn in this morning following their approval by the National Assembly on Wednesday. The 19 cabinet secretary nominees will take the oath of office at State House, Nairobi, upon appointment by President William Ruto, who reconstituted the new cabinet after dismissing some. The legislators rejected Stella Langat, who had been nominated to the gender docket. The amendment to save her nomination, proposed by Vihiga woman Representative Beatrice Adagala, was withdrawn at the last minute. In the UK, thousands of anti-racism protesters have rallied in cities and towns across England after a week of anti-immigrant rioting and disorder. Gatherings in locations where anti-immigration protests had been expected, including North London, Bristol and Newcastle, were largely peaceful, with counter-protesters chanting "Refugees are welcome here," forming the bulk of the crowds. Police had been braced for further violence, with thousands of officers deployed and more than 100 events anticipated. Rioting was sparked by misinformation online that the suspect in the fatal stabbing of 3 little girls in Southport on the 29th of July was a Muslim asylum seeker. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
Waliletea fujo Moi mpaka wakapata cooperation. Wakakuja wakasumbua Kibaki mpaka wakachukua nusu mkate. Wamekuja wakazungusha Uhuru hapo mpaka wakaenda na handshake, program yetu ikapotea, BBI ikaendelea, tukazama, tukaingia kwa madeni. Sasa mimi nimewaambia, hii serikali hii, mimi nawaambia hii serikali ni ya mahasla. Hakuna nusu mkate, hakuna handshake, hakuna hiyo borojo.
Jana nimeona wale wazee tulishinda. Ati hiyo mzee akisema ati he'll not be coerced or intimidated to joining our government. Wewe mzee sikia. We have no business within our government. Hatuna haja na hatugojei wewe. We are not looking for you and we have no time. Stop saying that people can force you to come to this government. Forget about being forced or coerced. We are not interested because sisi tuko na kazi ya kufanya.
Kama kuna mtu ako na namba ya William Ruto, arekodi hii video mtumie. Maisha yangu tangu nizaliwe sijawahi kuona mtu muongo, mfisadi, baradhuli, dhabdhabina kama William Samoei Ruto.
Mimi Hassan Joho nikitaka kuongea, mimi I don't even dream of engaging with them. ati huyu akitaka aje ongee sio na mimi niongee na Ruto nini? Mimi nikamtafute atanipa nini? Wilbaro. I wonder. Nilipeleka Wilbaro mimi la kimtaani la kucheza nalo zamani.
We have a choice to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Apart from a few individuals who are not even more than 8, the rest are incompetent, unqualified, have integrity issues, are people who cannot deliver this country from where it is to the next level that we want the country to move in.
A few moments later.
Now forwarded the name of John Mbadi Ngongo to the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning. The Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
What's happening on the road? Nothing much. The roads are pretty clear today. It's like a Sunday morning, actually. So you'll find roadblocks erected by police along the major roads heading in towards the CBD. So you'll find some on Mombasa Road, on Langata Road, on Gong Road, on Thika Superhighway. You'll find some roadblock. You'll find a roadblock on Jogoo Road. You will find a roadblock on Wayaki Way into town. Just be patient. They are not turning people back. They are just placing a roadblock, so controlling traffic. And I don't know what else they're doing. But yeah, roadblocks are there. So if you find them, don't turn back in panic. You'll be let through.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I really, really hoped that we would get it, but City, we missed it. It's 10 minutes after 8.
It was supposed to be 8 minutes after 8 on this 8th, is it 8th month?
8th day of 8th month.
Yes.
We missed it
by 2 minutes.
Anyway, it's okay.
No, we'll time 18th minute. Yeah, I'm not giving up on this thing. There has to be an 8
there
somewhere.
Has to be somewhere, some
yes,
8 thing,
surely.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's all right. It's okay. Welcome to the third hour of the Situation Room. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for keeping it locked on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, KTN News, YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok, everywhere, wherever you're finding us. Asante, we're glad that you're here. In the next 50 minutes or so, State House will be a beehive of activity. Families, relatives of those that have been appointed as cabinet secretaries will be sitting there. They'll be watching as their kin hold on to the Bible and they swear to serve diligently as cabinet secretaries. Yesterday, the National Assembly's Committee on Appointments presented its report recommending out of the 20 that they interviewed, 19 were to be passed as for appointment. And the House accepted and agreed with that report. So 19 were approved by Parliament. And before Gafla had become VU, President William Ruto had appointed them and gazetted it as an appointment. So they have been appointed. They're going to be taking oath at 9 a.m. today to become cabinet secretaries. That's what we want to discuss. So will this new cabinet win the trust, the faith, and the confidence of the people? The other one was basically dismissed because the public had issues with that cabinet. Will this one do better? Con Omori Osendo is the governance and political economy expert. He's our guest this morning. Con, good morning.
Morning, Eric. Morning, City.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, I'm good.
Finally, you're seated at the hot seat of the city.
Yes, I've always escorted people here. Today, I'm seated here.
Today, you are the one.
Yep.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana. The Aga Khan University Hospital tells you if you have 9,950, right?
Kenya shillings.
Kenya shillings.
Yes.
The next time you're going for your annual medical checkup, go to Aga Khan. They do a comprehensive checkup from as low as 99.50.
Yes.
No, those American ads, 99.99.
No, and you hear, so say 9950. And you've never been, perhaps this is a time for you to start.
Yeah.
And why? Well, it's your health, it is your life, and shouldn't you be better informed? Shouldn't you take the opportunity to actually know exactly what's ticking in your body?
Yep.
What's where? Is it working right? Is there something that's threatening it? Well, you can't know this on your own, but if you do go for a medical checkup at the Aga Khan, you will be able to have an idea of exactly what is happening in your body. Better safe than sorry, they say. A stitch in time saves 9.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You just walk in there, you're sent to various labs, take this, take the other, take this, take the other. Of course, they check your pressure, and then you go and see to the medic who now reviews the results, and you're discussing them one by one. Boss naona umekata center borut.
Yes, hii ball joint haifanyi kazi bro.
Hivi unakaa wewe, naona ni kama nini,
shoka mzoba
zimeisha. Grease ya magoti.
Baba.
So they walk you through that, and it's important for you to have it. So Sakon?
Sawa.
Very good. City will give you the day's proverb.
Yes. Our proverbs for the whole of this week have been from the Republic of Botswana. Our proverb for the previous week and the week after this are all from landlocked countries of Africa. So this is your opportunity to tell us how your geography classes fared in school. Mention one landlocked country which isn't Uganda.
Rwanda. I think
it is.
Yes.
It's very landlocked.
Extremely landlocked.
It's extremely landlocked. We agree with you.
Very much so.
Very much so. Okay, the proverb.
It's from?
The Republic of Botswana. Also landlocked. Okay? Son-in-law hasten. The marriage cattle are gone.
Son-in-law hasten. The marriage cattle are gone. I know, right?
Yeah, because ideally, son-in-law hasten. If the son-in-law is bringing marriage cattle, sons-in-law bring the marriage cattle to where they're going to marry. Son-in-law hasten, the marriage cattle is gone could mean that it could be figurative of your marriage or your wife is getting out of your grasp.
That possibility exists, yes.
Yeah, and so hasten and save that.
Because that kurudisha ng'ombe.
Haki kuna refund.
Kuna refund.
Yes.
Huyu akienda.
Refund on used goods. Hakuna.
Goods once sold.
Not refundable.
Not refundable.
So you think it's basically telling the son-in-law, take care of your family.
Take care of your home.
Take care of your home.
Yeah. That's my guess. But city's proverbs are usually very difficult, but that's my guess.
Yeah, city's proverbs are like that.
These are not my proverbs. All I do is vocalize them. The people who wrote these proverbs wrote them for a purpose. And Africans understand that livestock is often given as a form of dowry. We all understand that.
Yeah.
And the beauty of proverbs is this: you can't possibly be wrong. Yes, because we're asking for your interpretation, and that's what you've given us. Yes,
true.
We start the conversation with greetings to you from Constant Cap. He says you were his senior in secondary school.
Yes, in the great A great school. We were in together.
Which one?
Strathmore School.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good school. There's no question about it.
It's a great school.
Thank you.
No, it's a tremendous school. That's why I didn't go there. But I know it was a wonderful, wonderful school.
Yes.
So you were his senior. So you were classmates with his brother Andika. Okay.
I didn't see that one
You
coming.
didn't see it?
No.
Like that.
He was a good young man. I think he was a sportsman of the year in his year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but a very, very good friend of mine eventually.
I'm sure he still knew how to ride even then. Constant Cap is known just for riding.
No, by Skelly Baba. Same WhatsApp group.
Okay. The cabinet is going to be sworn in. 19 of the 20 that were interviewed by the parliamentary committee. We saw what the report was saying. We saw the debate in the House with regards to these members. We've seen some reports again in the papers today. But we step all the way back to the day the president announced that he's dissolving his cabinet. Let's just start from there. From that point, what was the president saying when he dissolved his cabinet? What made him dissolve the cabinet?
I mean, those public pressure for him to dismiss the entire cabinet. I think Kenyans initially started with the rejection of the finance bill, but that was really a trigger on so many other issues that Kenyans felt were not being handled well. And they were looking at the top policy-making organ in the country, which is the cabinet, for having let a lot of things slip through their fingers, the arrogance or the opulence, or just a lot of policy issues that were affecting Kenyans, and you know the feeling that these have not been handled well. So when the protesting public turned on the heat and said, we want this cabinet dismissed, I think the president must have gone back and reflected and said, okay, let's start afresh. And I'll concede on that, amongst a few other things that he conceded on. So I think for him, it was a conceding to the public pressure and then beginning to recalibrate from there.
Can we say that the public pressure was a vote of no confidence on the cabinet?
Pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. Cabinet as an institution, or cabinet as an institution and the individuals therein?
Maybe a bit of both. But you see, cabinet as an institution is already enshrined in law, so we have it. So I think it was more of the individuals who are seated in there or who are appointed in there, and how some of them may have carried out their duties or handled their dockets and the impact of that on the people. Yeah.
Public reaction after the first 10 were nominated by the president. When he came and said, I have the first list of 10 nominees, what did you read as the mood of the public?
So you had a section of the public that wanted a fresh start. And so when the president brought back 10 from the previous, or from the 21 that he dismissed, that was not seen by some as a fresh start. So you still have a section of the public that is not entirely happy and whose confidence in the cabinet and potentially the president will be affected negatively, yes.
And then he said, this is just a start. I am still consulting widely and I want to form a broad-based government. He comes again with the next batch and says, now this is the broad-based government. He brings in some of those that he had dismissed. He brings in new fresh faces, and some of the fresh faces are from the opposition benches.
There now we see a flip. So you see, again, a section of the public happy with these opposition members, I think are about 5, who then have been appointed. There are 4 gentlemen, 1 lady.
Later in the second.
Yes, later. Okay, fine. Yes, if you're looking at how then he was appointing. So there are those 4 that he brought in from the opposition. And you see then another section of the public who are like, okay, we don't mind, because I guess that was their side of the political divide. But you then still have, again, those who wanted a fresh start saying, wait, this is not what we were asking for. So it's again a mixed bag. Yeah.
I don't see it even as a mixed bag, really, because if you consider the people who are making the decisions, they are the people who, in one way or the other, have contributed to the position we currently find ourselves in. And I mean all of them. There's no one takes a break on this one here. So when it is them who are making these decisions, After they've been given an opportunity to make a decision that would resonate with change, what are we doing? We're recycling. It doesn't matter whether the person was in cabinet or not. If these are the people whom we've had in the position of what we call political leadership, then what has changed really? Is it that somebody who's never been on this docket has been given the job? Everyone who gets that job in all these dockets comes the promise, all, without fail. I've never heard anyone coming in and saying, you know me, I'm planning to fail. And if I'm given this job, I'll fail spectacularly. In fact, I will do very little. They never say that. They always talk about how they'll stop this or start this or carry on with this or change this. The thing is this, we very rarely see any change that you can even refer to as being slightly meaningful. So this lot that have now been brought in, what exactly are they going to promise that will be new? Are we to go by what they told us they would do if they get the job? Are we to look at the track record of what they have been all along and take the view that because it is now a new docket, they'll suddenly change? They won't change. Nothing new will happen. They didn't listen. Yes?
Pressure kosa.
Pressure kofiti.
It's creasing.
Inapandisha kidogo tu.
Pressure is creasing.
Okay, nimetoa mguu kwa pedal.
Hey.
No. City makes an important point. I think if you look at the spectrum of public demand and public response to the president's nominations, you still have a good section of the population saying we wanted a fresh start, so we don't have confidence in this team that you've brought in, because if you're talking about a fresh start, and you know, from what you have said, CT, you are only looking at about 5 who are really like new people from private sector or from wherever, and sometimes it's hard to understand, because when you look at say when the president brought in the opposition members, he had there was a lot of celebration from especially the regions that they come from, because of the usual thing we have as Kenyans. This is our person.
Finally, we are in.
Finally, we're here. Someone was saying we have never had this docket before as a region. So you had all this kind of reactions. But yes, how will it be moving forward? Will they bring anything new? Do we rely on their track record? Do we rely on what they've said? All those questions you ask are critical. But one thing I know that will be different, if they are appointed today and they take their oath, and you know, I hope they read that oath, because it's a very significant oath that they take. The public accountability that we have seen in the last 2 months alone, that has shifted hugely how Kenyans process and understand and make their demands on public policy has changed. And if they expect them to get into office and be comfortable and ride their way the next 3 years, I think they'll be mistaken on that.
You know, the political positions that the government appoints people to, in reality, is not anything that's supposed to benefit the country or the citizenry. It never really does. What it does is it benefits a few. There's a cabal, the people surrounding you, the people who sponsored you, the people who supported you. It benefits. And for someone who is considered a very good choice is somebody who benefits his community, and the community recognizes that they have benefited from that person's position. How this translates into benefit from the country, I'm not certain, because how then do you explain it? Because if I have a docket and my community benefits, they will support me. It doesn't matter what wrong I do, they will support me. Okay? Now, this is our norm. This is our reality. And this is what I believe among the things that those who are protesting were saying, look, we don't want this. This is what guarantees that we do not move forward as a country. If anything, we are permanently in reverse gear. We want to borrow 1 trillion shillings. The Auditor General tells you there's 1 trillion shillings that was in our system here and you can't trace it. Which means if we had the 1 trillion shillings, if I'm speaking very simply, we did not need to borrow the 1 trillion shillings we are borrowing. So exactly. And it's this government. It's not another government. There are no alien governments in Kenya. It's just one. So,
and that's the crossroad we find ourselves in, because with these nominations, you will still have a disaffected section of the public who are still going to push back. But at the same time, I think I want to think that we have changed significantly how we shall be doing our accountability in this country, at least from the public side.
Rapana. Okay, you go on. It's your thing. Let me not interrupt. Please proceed.
You don't agree?
No, that was a knee-jerk reaction.
It was
just a knee-jerk reaction. You just carry on.
You just carry
he has
on.
reined in his knee. It will not do it again. Yes, please
Just
go on.
Yeah, the standard that we want to then start holding, not just cabinet secretaries, but generally state officers, public officers, paid by taxpayers and given a task to do, has changed, and I think that will go on. So even if the CSs are appointed today and they start their role, I say we're at the crossroads because you're going to probably see two things. One, they continue with their work and we continue with all forms of protest, whatever form they'll take. But two, the pressure to then deliver based on what Kenyans protested about, brought to the fore, and the last 2 months, how we have reacted to the politics and the state of affairs in the country.
Did you get a sense of that from the members of the vetting committee? The National Assembly's
the Committee
on Appointments. Did you get that the members of that committee were actually cognizant that things have changed? Did you get from those candidates, as they were sitting there and they were answering questions, did you feel that they're feeling, okay, yes, I want to also be more accountable. So as I answer this question, I know I'm not answering to these members, I'm answering to Kenyans?
I think the members just stuck to the usual script they've used, which could mean that they probably didn't come in there with the mind that something may have changed and we should take this approval hearing differently. So they started the rule book and asked questions around the dockets these guys are going to manage, about the sectors, issues that have been, that those sectors have grappled with. They brought in a bit of what the public is saying. It was business as usual for me in terms of the committee. In terms of the nominees, they would only then respond to what is brought on the table. And you had a few of them who are experienced and would go a bit of the extra mile to speak, and you had those who were just playing it safe, and those who also just did not hack it. I think one of the things that this Committee on Appointments would have done innovatively, if you read the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, this committee has the power to bring a member of the public into the room and present evidence on the suitability of the nominees.
The committee has legal powers to co-opt somebody.
No.
To come in and ask.
You saw the speaker give us the data of the memoranda that came in. About over 600 and only about 180 that were
at the master.
Met the threshold.
Okay, of the law. Nothing stopped the Committee on Appointments to say, okay, for each CS nominee who has memoranda written on them or sent about them that has met the threshold, let us invite one of them to come in and
directly ask the questions.
Directly ask the questions or present the issues and the evidence, and let them respond. That would have been something innovative. And the same act says that between the notification in Parliament by the Speaker and when the committee should table the report, they have 28 days. They've done this process in 15 days. What's a rush?
They still had another fortnight to do this.
Exactly. So we had about 5 nominees per day, that could have even been 3 per day, and you still have time to do your report and time to table it. So I think if the committee may have been plugged into the public sentiment that we've had in the last 2 months, if I was them, I would just innovatively just push out and say, bring someone there.
Now you see why my knee was reacting. Because you said you thought and you were hoping that it would be now different. That this public accountability that has come from the citizens would now be the new order of the day. But we saw what the order of the day is. From those in leadership, what they are showing us, that's the order. The day hasn't changed. They are still on Monday. Us guys on Friday. We moved. Let's take a break. It's 27 minutes to 9. Our guest this morning is Conor Sendo. He's a governance and political economy expert. New cabinet secretaries will be sworn in this morning in State House. 19 of them, they were appointed last night by the president, gazetted, and now they will be sworn in this morning. Higher, and then they'll be formally gazetted now as cabinet secretaries. This is the oath of office. It is part of the constitution as a schedule. Oath or solemn affirmation of due execution of office for a cabinet secretary. And this is how it reads. I, so-and-so, being appointed a cabinet secretary of Kenya, do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect and uphold this Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, that I will well and truly serve the people of the Republic of Kenya in the office of a cabinet secretary, that I undertake to hold my office as cabinet secretary with honor and dignity, that I will be a true and faithful counselor to the president for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Kenya, that I will not divulge directly or indirectly such matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties, and committed to my secrecy except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as cabinet secretary, and that I will perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability. So help me God. This is what they will be swearing. And you said it's important for them to factor in what they're saying as they're taking the oath.
And to reflect seriously.
Let's look at what that means. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start.
Hey, baba boy, gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob.
Hey.
20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mimi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui dakika mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Daka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila hour. Usipitwe. Cheza Daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account Spice amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka mita. Kuwa bingwa.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
What? My head is aching, shoulders paining, and it's like I'm adding weight very fast.
Now, by the way, see, I thought you are...
Nilifikiri umefanya ile kitu. No, I know what you are thinking. I'm not pregnant. Not now.
Now, when you haven't heard about Aga Khan Hospital, they have a wellness program.
Aga Khan University Hospital has made medical checkups more available through their subsidized wellness package at 9,950 for a comprehensive medical checkup. Don't wait for a health scare. Do your health check at the Aga Khan University Hospital clinics in your neighborhood today. Get your vitals checked today. Call 0111 011 888 for more information.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Okay, let's see the weather. 15 degrees and partly sunny in Nairobi. Mombasa sunny at 25. Similar to Malindi, sunny at 27. Kakamega, mostly sunny at 20. Kisumu, sunny at 22. Nakuru, 15 and sunny. Eldoret 15 and sunny, Nyeri 15 and sunny as well. Kampala 22 and sunny, Lagos 25 and partly cloudy, Mogadishu sunny at 27, sunny in Addis Ababa at 17, 24 and sunny in Dar es Salaam, Kinshasa mostly cloudy at 21, Johannesburg sunny at 12. How's it looking like in Europe? Paris 17 and cloudy, London partly sunny at 15. How's it in China? Beijing is 33 and sunny, and New York is 19 and cloudy.
Spice up your life.
So it's not about traffic now this morning. There's no traffic really to talk about, but it's about the police roadblocks that have been erected in various parts of the roads leading towards town. We know that there's a roadblock on Langata Road, there's a roadblock on Ralph Bunch Road, there's a roadblock on Mombasa Road coming into town. Were you queuing into town? Use the expressway, did you?
Yes, I used the expressway, clear. James Kishuru was clear. That was the route I used.
Okay.
Yeah.
So James Kishuru, at the point that Con was using it, was clear. The expressway had a roadblock. But wherever there's a roadblock, they're still allowing vehicles to pass. They're not asking people to turn back. So just be patient, approach the roadblock with confidence and pass.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So the cabinet secretaries will be sworn in this morning, and there's a story about the intrigues on rejecting the CS nominees. So one was rejected, the CS nominee for gender was rejected, culture and arts, and according to this story by The Nation, there was apparently some, conversation about the Honorable Wycliffe Oparanya, or whether he should be rejected or not. But then the issue of Honorable Oparanya is there an ongoing case investigation? Yes, there's an ongoing investigation. Is there an ongoing civil case touching on him? Yes, there's an ongoing civil case. So what's the bar of integrity when we talk about integrity? We talk about Chapter 6 of the Constitution. What's the expectation? And those are the questions that people were saying. Did we expect to hear such a question being asked of the Honorable Oparanya? He was asked, he said, okay, the only thing I know is that those guys came to my house and they're asking me how I relate with Raila, what business I do with Raila. Is that the truth? Is that all? Should the EACC, for example, like Con you're saying, Parliament can then say, Parliament has wrote to the EACC asking, is there any matter touching on any of these candidates? The EACC writes back and says, we have no ongoing investigations on the candidates apart from this one.
But there's something that arose, Eric, with the question. The question that I asked myself was, yes, there are questions that you ask the nominees. If the session that you have with the nominee produces issues that need to be interrogated, the time that was given for that whole process was not exhausted. Was there recourse to say, please come back on this other day so that we can have follow-up questions? Because something as serious as this, you're holding a docket for the nation. I've seen that the hours that were used were sufficient to actually interrogate everything. 1, 2. As we listened to the questions being asked and we also listened to the responses, surely it brought up other things that also would need to be addressed. When would these things be addressed? Lastly, there is the committee that was set up. That's the best we could do. Okay?
With the committee?
Yeah, that's the best we could do, okay, as a country. Those are the questions that we could ask these people here. These are the best thing we could do. How do you get a committee that seems to more or less be in uniform about what they're asking, how they're asking it, the manner in which they're approaching it? Some are even appearing to assist the people who are supposed to be questioned. And, it abrogates so many things. You are talking about integrity. You're talking about... That's why I asked, is this the best we could do? We, people who are supposed to be vetting individuals whom we are going to entrust the well-being and the welfare of this entire nation on. And that is the show that we were...
I think both Parliament and the President missed an opportunity here. Because like Con, you rightly put it to us earlier in the beginning. The cabinet was dissolved because there was no public confidence in that cabinet. We can then therefore also say that on June 25th, Parliament was raided, visited by the people of Kenya to express lack of confidence in Parliament. This was the first major task that Parliament undertook after resuming, right? Save for the other one of just rubber stamping the fact that the people have rejected the finance bill. This is the first major one. It was an opportunity for Parliament to regain the confidence of the public with this, by showing that, yes, we know that the other cabinet was dissolved because of lack of confidence. We want to make sure that we give the president a cabinet that has confidence, even if you're only going to approve one of the 22 members that he's brought to us. They missed that opportunity, right?
Yep. Yes, they did. Like we said, I think the commission appointments, which is provided for in the standing orders of the National Assembly, should have sat down and thought that how can we do this differently to reflect the demands of the public on how cabinet should be moving forward. I think you had a few members who were quite bold in how they were approaching the nominees. I liked Honorable Naisula Lesuda, for example. I think she was quite insistent on some of her questions. She was quite bold and quite frank in asking some uncomfortable questions. So I agree. I think we should have seen more from the committee and not business as usual. Yeah.
So then now what? Does this new cabinet answer the question that was there before? We do not have confidence in your cabinet, Mr. President. Do you think now the conversation changes? We have a bit of confidence, or we have confidence, or we still do not have confidence?
Does this cabinet inspire confidence?
I think it's a yes for those who. It's a yes for some and a no for some. It's definitely a no for those who wanted a clean start. It's probably a yes for those who feel, okay, 50% are new. But I think now the question will be, how can, if they're going to stay on, how can they inspire confidence? And that's the question that they must reflect on and ask themselves. That's the question the president must have when he has appointed them, and that's a question that every other segment of the public and our public institutions must have. How this cabinet must ask themselves, how can we inspire confidence? I think Kenyans were very clear on certain things. Transparency. We don't want to be hearing very serious, highly impactful policy decisions being leaked. And then is when they come out to say, actually, yes, we were doing this. We don't want that kind of thing anymore. Communication. You had CSS who never communicated with the public in the 2 years. Never communicated with the public, never came out to even bother to say anything. In fact, when they were being dismissed, some guys were asking, oh, this guy was in cabinet, Integrity. It's going to be a different ballgame about integrity. There were questions asked in the committee on appointments. There are those who had integrity issues, like you've mentioned. Your integrity, who you are when no one is watching, is going to be such an important thing. Accountability. This is what we have, this is what we have used, this is how we have used it, how you collaborate with the people, empathy. Kenyans were really ticked off at the lack of empathy from cabinet. You had a lot of arrogance in cabinet. There's a question that that members in the committee kept asking, will you be a desk CS? Will you just be locked up in your plush office receiving delegations or doing what you're doing on your desk. You want to see an engaging cabinet. Go out and see how the policies are being implemented, see the impact of the policies of your docket, and come back and address that on your desk or at cabinet. So it's these are the things that Kenyans were talking about, and I think if this cabinet is supposed to regain or increase the confidence of the public in them, they must apply.
You know, there's one CS. There are others, but let me point to one who was very visible, and one saw a lot of activity in this docket. That was Owalo. You saw him all over the place. The other one was Kindiki, but for different reasons, you see.
Yes.
Kindiki, we heard him say very many things, make many, many promises. Those promises fell flat on their bottom. Nothing moved. Okay? Everything that was being queried then is still being queried now. Solutions that were being sought then are still being sought now. He has been returned. Fine. He has been returned. But that, in my opinion, is window dressing. Who runs the ministries is a question we should be asking. And what real power do CSs actually have? That's a question that I want to ask. Because as far as I know, unless there's something different, the only executive CS position is that of Treasury. Who runs it? And if we're talking about the changes that we sought, we focus on the CSS. Should the citizenry not have asked that same question and asked, who actually runs the ministries? Is it the ministers? The answer is no, it's not them. They don't actually run it. They are figureheads, by and large. Are we expecting changes at the level of the PSs? What do we call them now? What do we call them again? Principal secretaries. Yes, exactly. Okay? Why am I bringing this discussion? A lot of the things that the political class does, they take us on goose chases. They give us things to chase after and to talk about and to run after. And we stop looking at what we should be looking at. How competent are our PSs? All these people that we have, all the people who actually run the government and the people below them, the secretaries, how competent are they? And who do they actually take instructions from? In my opinion, that is a discussion we ought to be having. Because you can appoint all these people here. If the PS and the people they work with don't want to work with you, Haki, you will do nothing.
Agreed. Totally. In fact, I used to see people ask, and I think I also ask myself the same question. A place like Treasury, very, very important place that should actually be placed in a neutral space because it serves the whole country. It serves both sides of government, etc. You know, but we've got a system within the ministries led by the PS, who's the accounting officer, and you know, other senior people within the state departments that the PSs lead.
And whom the PSs rely on
and who the PSs
to actually run their respective dockets.
Exactly. And they can paralyze the PS if they don't get along.
They can paralyze the minister.
Who are you saying? The PSs?
I am saying...
The ones below the PSs.
Yes, I'm saying that...
The civil service.
These fellows, that is it, the civil service. Yes. People who never really change, and they're almost faceless, but they are the engine.
And that's just like we were saying yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? The problem, I think, with our civil service is that it has been politicized.
It has.
Because if our public service was not politicized, then it would remain the professional side. It's still serving the people. The machine would be moving. We're giving the example on the difference with if Kenya went parliamentary as a parliamentary system versus the other parliamentary systems that we see. And we're saying in the UK, you saw the number of prime ministers that kept coming in and going, new cabinets coming in and going, but the public service was the same and the citizens were still getting their service. You see the same even in Japan and Italy and elsewhere. The civil service is still churning and doing its job because it's not really completely affected by the politics of the day, right? Here, new administration comes, watu walikuwa waende. You start seeing senior people being promoted only on account of their affiliation to the political powers that be. So it's completely politicized.
I think the last 1 month that we've not had CSS, we've seen some PSS step up. Let's give it to them. We've not, I could be wrong, but we've not really felt that
absence of a CS.
Absence of a
How
CS.
can you feel something which didn't exist?
But yes, but true. And you've seen PSS step up. Not all, I mean, there are many. There are like 50 PSS. But you can begin to see a lot of them coming out, taking press conferences, doing quite well, articulating policy issues, including new things. In fact, I noticed, and I wish I wrote it down, but I tended to feel that as I was watching the approval hearings of the nominees and some of the policy issues being raised about those dockets, I tended to see, like, the next day or the next 2 days, a PS handling something related. It's like they were all watching and saying ahead, there must be some gaps here that are being addressed. How can we begin to push that? And what does this mean? It could mean two things. One, that we've seen a more robust PS coordination system or mechanism in place with the head of public service having his own forum with the PSs as you know, as their kind of like their line manager, but also the Prime Cabinet Secretary having the forum for monitoring programs and implementation of programs. And you had Mudavadi as acting CS for all ministries. We didn't see Mudavadi going to every office, sitting on every CS's desk, running everyone saying, yeah, it's probably not his style. But we felt a number of PSs just step up and take charge. And maybe it's because of that coordination mechanism working. But also, we hear rumors that once the president is done with the cabinet, he's going to that next level. And guys have to shine. You have to come out and show that, hey, I'm doing and I'm delivering my job.
Is that really the case? Because from what I've observed over time, the key requirement for holding those jobs is not to do well, but to pander to whoever it is you think is your appointing officer. That really is the basic requirement. How that translates into service for the citizenry is something that you need to explain to me, because I don't often see it. Do you see it?
I mean, you have to juggle those two. I don't refuse that senior people like CSS or PSS must leave room to pander to the appointing authority. And depending on the kind of administration, you see those levels either high or low. Kibaki's time, we didn't have it really, really high and serious. Guys were freed up to do their work. But yes, you have to have that balance. These are senior technical and political roles. A bit of political acumen is important. Even on the CSs, I know we had envisaged with the new constitution that we shall have purely technical, non-political CSs. How we have then interpreted that in the last 10 years is that we will appoint a politician who will then resign from political office, and then they become technical. But eventually you then see that there are some politicians who bring in a bit of that political gravitas needed to run a ministry. A ministry is a minister or a cabinet secretary is one who should be able to understand the impact of government decisions on politics and the impact of politics on government decisions. What I call political economy.
I agree.
So people have been arguing that we should not see politicians in cabinet.
Why not?
That the expectation is that to have technocrats in cabinet. What do you say to that?
Eric, think about it. Whether they're politicians, whether they're technocrats. Technocrats can be politicized, okay? And then they become completely ineffectual. You even wonder where it is they brought that person from. The question that bedevils us has always been, the person, integrity. But the real question is accountability. Because it doesn't matter, in my opinion, who has that particular position. If we have a mechanism, if we have a process by which people know they will be held to account, that technocrat will actually outperform the politician, because they are used to actually just doing things. They are result oriented, they'll focus on results. But with the current system that we have, If you take a technocrat in that position, that's a lamb to the slaughter. That person will not be enabled. There'll be roadblocks at every step they make.
Because it's a very political position.
Very, very. It's entirely political. The politician will be spending their time politicking through getting things done. So how do we get the accountability mechanism to the point where people understand? Looking at these appointments and given the vetting process, that accountability mechanism that we thought had risen up, it's been stepped on again. Because that entire process, everything about it, as I told you earlier on in the morning, these are things that depressions are made of. You look at this thing and you wonder, God Almighty, what on earth is this?
Where are we and where are we?
Yes. What is this? These people who we gave the mandate to lead us, are they not capable of seeing what they are doing and the harm it's going to cause? Can't they see it? Because this is disaster in the making, seriously. You say we are going to have changes. Changing a face doesn't mean changes beyond just that changing the face. What is it that we're complaining about? It's not the faces, but the non-performance of these faces. We were saying what we expect isn't being delivered. That's what we were saying. Not particularly that those individuals are necessarily bad. No, but they represented something deplorable, something that was supposed to happen and didn't happen.
Yeah, and if the new cabinet secretaries are coming into the same system that the previous CSS had,
yes,
then we might just go back to square one.
We're just where we were, never left.
Yep.
So I've got to ask you this question. I've been asking this question of all the guests who come. Do you think this, seeming disquiet among the public on the journey, the nomination of the cabinet secretaries, the vetting in parliament, and people are saying this is just all a sham? Do you think it's just restricted to some urban elite? Do you think the entire country is feeling the same? Do you think what we're seeing across the country in those finance bill protests and the feeling around the finance bill will be the same feeling right now on the new broad-based government?
I don't think it's restricted to the urban elite. The urban elite, of course, quite vocal and have access to a lot of mediums of expressing their disaffection. The impact of government policy is being felt across the country, urban and rural and peri-urban. But this whole process that we've had of approving the nominees, I think there are those who, one, don't care. Two, I think there are those who are like, well, okay, let's move on as a country, and you hear them, and let's see what these guys are going to do. And three, I think you've got the Puritans who are like, this is not what we wanted, we are not happy, and we're still going to agitate. And that's the complexity of Kenya.
Who do you think have the greater numbers?
Who has the greater numbers? I think the majority of Kenyans, adults or those who consciously engage, Gen Z and above, who consciously engage on politics and policy, collectively until probably our parents' age. I don't know if there's a. It's hard to say who was a majority. I'll probably put 30-30-30 in
we'll do a poll.
Different groups have done.
In the next hour, we'll be doing a poll. We'll open the phone lines and we'll ask people, does this new cabinet inspire confidence? And we'll be able to see from the people who call, at least we'll be gauging what do people feel and what are they saying. News time, 9 a.m.
SpiceFM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. Acting Police Inspector General Gilbert Masengeli is urging you to exercise vigilance during today's Nane Nane March and avoid trespassing on protected areas like the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and State House. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, Masengeli said the protesters could be infiltrated by goons, but the police will not hesitate to take action.
Our intelligence report indicated that there are security threats to the country with criminal planning to infiltrate demonstration and commit further crimes. In anticipation, we have ensured adequate deployment of security personnel. We also wish to caution members of the public against contravening the Kenya Civil Aviation Act and Protected Areas Act by avoiding trespass of protected areas such as Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and State House lodges.
This event comes as President Ruto appealed for national unity when he spoke in Embu County on Wednesday on his first day of his development tour of the Mount Kenya region.
Mimi nataka niwaambie asante sana, na mimi nataka niwahakikishie tutaunganisha taifa letu la Kenya na tutahakikisha kwamba Kenya inapiga hatua ya kwenda mbele. Sisi ni nchi ya demokrasia. Sisi ni nchi ambayo tunaamini kwa amani. Hatutaki fujo katika taifa letu la Kenya. Hatutaki maandamano ambayo inaleta maafa, ambayo inaleta kuharibifu wa mali, ambayo watu wanapoteza mali yao. Tunataka amani. Watu wa Embu mnasema tunataka amani ama mnataka fujo iendelee? Mnataka amani? Hebu ni wale wala wanasema tunataka amani katika taifa letu la Kenya.
As Wycliffe Oparanya and 18 other new cabinet secretaries prepare to be sworn in this morning, a section of party members in Busia County want Governor Paul Otuoma to replace him as deputy party leader of the ODM party. Led by Richard Okello, they've claimed that the post belongs to the Western region.
Party leader vile anavyosema kwamba bedroom yake ni ODM na ni Busia, angeweza kupatia Paul Nyongeso Otuoma nafasi imeachwa wazi na Wycliffe Oparanya ambaye alikuwa deputy party leader, na tumesikia habari kutoka watu wa Kakamega wamekuwa ameshatusupport, watu wa Vihiga wametusupport, Trans Nzoia wote wanasema Otuoma akuwe deputy. Kwa hivyo la kwanza ni kushukuru William Samoei Ruto kumpa ndugu yetu baba yetu Wycliffe Oparanya, lakini kwa Kiluya hata ukikufa hatafuti mtu kutoka nje kuridhi bibi yako, lazima mtu anatoka kwa boma.
Doctors in Mombasa County have decried a shortage of medicines, particularly pain relievers. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union Mombasa branch, Khalib Salim, says patients have to dig deeper into their pockets to buy the medicines.
Na kwa sasa hivi litakalotokea lolote ni wagonjwa ndio wenye kuumia na wanapaswa kutoka nje ya hospitali kununua haya madawa. Kwa bahati mbaya tutasema procurement zimefanywa lakini madawa hakuna. Wagonjwa wanalazimika kutoka nje kununua madawa ya kufanyiwa upasuaji. Sasa hivi tunavyoongea, kuna madawa ambayo kwamba kwa mama wajawazito sasa hivi yamepotea kwa muda mrefu, especially kwa hypertensive mother, wale ndio kwamba wanapata hypertension due to pregnancy. Hakuna Kenya mzima hiyo dawa tunavyoizungumzia.
Salim has further blamed the county government for the crisis, saying it has failed to recruit enough medical personnel.
Kutoka governor aingie haja andika kazi madaktari, manesi, clinical officer, mtu yoyote mpaka sahi. Kuna madaktari wameresign, kuna manesi wameresign, kuna clinical officer wameresign. Kuna wengine wameacha kazi wakaenda kutafuta kazi kwingine. Hizo nafasi tunazoziuliza, hizo pesa zimepelekwa wapi? Ingekuwa watu wametoka wamekuwa employed, tungekuwa sasa hivi hatupigi kelele sisi hapa tunavyoongea. Kama kweli ni mtu governor ni mtu wa haki, atende haki inayotakaniwa.
A state of emergency has been declared in the Kursk region of Russia as a rare cross-border attack by Ukrainian troops continued on Wednesday. The acting regional governor Alexei Smirnov said the move was necessary to eliminate the consequences of enemy forces coming into the region. Russian officials said at least 5 civilians have been or had been killed and 31 wounded, 6 of them children, since the start of the incursion. Ukraine has not officially commented, and the depth of the incursion remains unclear. That's the news wire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
No traffic to report about, but roadblocks to inform you about. So as you head in towards town, you will likely find a roadblock. If you're coming from Mombasa Road, you'll find some roadblock somewhere. The police, Jogoo Road, major roads. You'll find a roadblock on Langata Road, on Gong Road, on Wayakiwe coming towards town. Nakuru Road coming towards town, you'll find traffic. As you're coming from Thika and Murang'a, you'll definitely find traffic. On Juja Road, you'll definitely find, not traffic, but traffic police who've erected a roadblock. They're allowing you to pass. The only thing is that when you get there, don't turn back. They're not turning you back. So just be aware that there will be several roadblocks this morning. Yes. It's happening in State House. The swearing in of the new cabinet secretaries has just begun. Siti, why is it important for people to go for regular medical checkups?
Well,
and why is Aga Khan telling you come for a comprehensive medical checkup?
Aga Khan has actually subsidized that cost. That is step number one, and you must understand it. It is better to be safe than to be sorry. Safe here means when you are alive and kicking, it is in your interest to actually know how that kicking is ticking. You need to know why it is you sound well and feel well. You may sound and feel well and yet you're not well. Now, to remove all doubts, you go for a checkup so that you know. This knee that keeps making noise, this knee that is stiff, why is it stiff? This cough which never seems to go away, what is it?
And stiffen it.
Yes. This ear that seems to be doing God knows what is it? A medical checkup tells you the state of your body. It tells you where you are and also gives you clear signs as to what you should do and also what you shouldn't do. That is what a checkup does for you.
Yes. Very good. Remind us the day's proverb as we hear. This is the Honorable Abraham Kedure Kindiki.
Secretary with honor and dignity, that I will be true and faithful counselor to the President for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Kenya, that I will not diverge directly or indirectly such matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties and committed to my secrecy, except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as Cabinet Secretary, and that I will perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki has just taken his oath of office, first one this morning in the new cabinet. And the conversation we're having is, does President Ruto's new cabinet inspire confidence? City, remind us the day's proverb.
Yes, son-in-law hasten, the marriage cattle are gone.
Son-in-law hasten, the marriage cattle are gone. It's like saying mtu yako anaenda. It's like the father saying, by the way I'm seeing your wife
Waendelea tu kucheza cheza.
Kuna mgeni. Kuna mgeni.
Na in case you continue, we jua tu ya kwamba hakuna refund clause hapa.
Usikuja kunililia mimi. I had given you prior warning. This is basically him playing the legal route, the father-in-law.
Kabisa.
Yeah, I've covered my bases. I had cautioned you. I had warned you. You didn't listen. Tuendelee. Want to open the phone line 0719-012-600. That's 0719-012-600. Does the new cabinet inspire confidence? Does the new cabinet inspire confidence? Yes, no, and what should happen next? So we want to focus and concentrate our conversation around that, on confidence, on the process, on accountability for this. I know that many will have the temptation to call and talk about the nane and we'll try and restrict ourselves to the matters at hand. Sasawa, the matters at hand. As they are going ahead now to take their oath of office in what they're sharing. Let's hear this one.
I, Roslinda Soipan Tuya, being appointed a Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect, and uphold this Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, that I will well and truly serve the people and the Republic of Kenya in the office of Cabinet Secretary, that I undertake to hold my office as Cabinet Secretary with honor and dignity, that I will be a true and faithful counselor to the President for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Kenya, that I will not divulge directly or indirectly such matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties, and committed to the secrecy except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as Cabinet Secretary, and that I will perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Roslinda Soipan Tuya has taken oath. She's the new Defense Minister for Kenya. You said this CSs should actually reflect on the words of the oath, because this is not just some piece of paper that they are picking.
Nope.
Not just some words that have been cobbled together. This is actually a constitutional oath.
Yes.
Why is it important that they think about the words?
The words of this oath that the CSs are taking reflect the issues that Kenyans have been complaining about. Will you be faithful to the Republic?
Not to the President, number one.
Faithful to the Republic.
And to your oath.
Mm-hmm.
Obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all laws.
Mm-hmm.
And we see instances where the law is disregarded, where the Constitution is not obeyed. Hold your office with high honor and dignity. We saw a lot of indignity in some of the ways that the CSs have been carrying themselves out. Be true and faithful counselor to the President with regards to the management of the affairs of the country. And hopefully then the President allows them to counsel him and takes their advice where applicable. And of course there's that whole secrecy part, which is a bit of a bind when you look at the accountability and transparency gaps we've had. And I think if they step up accountability, transparency, then they won't really have issues with some of the things that they need to, for whatever good reason, hold back from the public. But that oath,
it's a very serious thing, because like you said, that first thing, it says that you swear to be faithful to the Republic of Kenya. Swearing to be faithful to the Republic of Kenya is that first and foremost, your number one allegiance is the country.
Correct.
If person comes between you and country, you choose country. If anything comes between you and country in the discharge of your duty, you choose country. Country above all else.
Yes.
Kenya above all else. If the President seems to head in a certain direction, you have also sworn that you shall be a true and faithful counselor. True and faithful does not mean that you shall ask the President what you'd like me to do. You shall tell the President, no, Mr. President, this is against country. This is against interest of the public. So that is the thing.
And I'm hoping that some of the, looking at the cast the President has put together in cabinet, you've got some very senior figures there, senior political figures who if the president was not president, pretty much
who would sit
like peers, they have served together in Bunge, in parties. These are some of his friends. But you've got some senior people there who I don't know. I've never been in a live cabinet session, but I hope that moving forward, they are able to tell the president, no, this is not how we're going to go. We don't think this is in the interest of the country. And the president would then listen, because he goes to them for counsel on their dockets. He may know a lot about what happens in these ministries, but he needs to then give them the space to advise and listen.
And giving counsel on their docket also means that they also look at their technical people in their ministries.
Yes.
You work very well with the ministry and ask the people in the ministry, what's the best thing for us to be able to deliver service to the public? And then you pick that and you take it to cabinet and say, my ministry, we are proposing this and the other. And let there be an open debate in cabinet. That's all wishful thinking, isn't
it? That's how it should be. Now, you see some ministers or some CSS coming in with a lot of arrogance. They don't bother to relate well with the team they find in their offices or the state departments. And you'll find a backlash. Many times, if you don't go and relate well, they also tell you, Sawa, you go sort yourself out. And you find you've got a gap. That docket of minister in the Republic of Kenya, not only do you harvest or get a lot of your information and advice from within the ministry, but also from other people in the country who serve those sectors. So whether it's private sector, whether it's development partners, whether it's civil society, you must be able to have a way that you harness and understand the issues grappling your docket from the perspective of these other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phone lines and hear what people are saying about this. Does this new cabinet that's being sworn in now inspire confidence from the public? Victor in Nairobi, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Eric, how are you?
Salama kabisa.
To my input, I don't have a confidence in the current cabinet secretary.
Why?
Disbanded. Yes, actually, because at least we did why the reason why he did that, and again, recycling. There is no concrete reason why. So to me, we are just repeating the same narrative, the same sequence. I think it is just something just repeating every now and then.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor. James, good morning.
Good morning to you, Eric and City.
Good morning.
I don't have confidence with the cabinet.
Why?
They are devoid of integrity.
Explain.
Most of them have integrity issues. Not most of them, at least all of them. And the one who was not approved, I think she was not approved because she lacked a dirty past behind her.
All right, James. Thank you very much. Kimoin Kericho.
Eric.
Good morning.
Morning. How's City?
Hi, how are you?
I'm very fine.
That's lovely to hear.
I haven't heard Okoh.
Okoh should be back hopefully tomorrow, God willing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this cabinet will inspire confidence?
To me, I don't. And simply because some of these leaders have been in government for the past 20 years. We need fresh ideas, right? Someone like Okoh. When I first heard of Vision 2030, I was in class 4. And he's still in government. occupying maybe a different...
Is that a bad thing?
Topic? Yes, because...
We've lost him. Some issues with our line. Maybe it'll come back. But also, you can post your comments as well on our YouTube live stream. Do you think this new cabinet will inspire confidence? And just some people are reflecting on that oath, Con. And they're saying the oath of office says first allegiance to the Republic of Kenya, and then you shall serve and uphold the Constitution of Kenya, and then you will be a true and faithful counselor to the president. Some are saying, there's no way some of these guys can stand up to the president and tell him, no. We think honestly, truthfully, Mr. President, this is the way to go. None of those guys can counsel the president. They're covered with mark. They actually need his protection. Tess Mahina says that. Sonnet also says the same thing. None of them can stand up to the president. The Constitution removed the requirement that ministers and CSs be MPs to allow the president to select the most competent people possible. Pan-African Nation says the president has this thing of two cabinets, one set being politicians for the sake of his re-election campaign, and the other one being 10 plus advisors with a budget of 1.5 billion shillings. It's just sick. Okay, the face of the administration will have these politicians. And then in the background, the engine will be these advisors who are the ones that he believes can give him wise counsel. Do you think that is a fair and true judgment of this situation?
I think we are waiting to see if the president is going to shift how things are done. Okay, and I think we have reflected on this process and on the last 2 months, and seen some moves that show that I'm hearing, and then some moves that show that now we are back to business as usual. We're back to square one. So it's mixed signals that we're getting from this administration, and I think what as this CSS gets sworn in now as we speak, the questions that I think I'm hearing from some of these callers is will the president shift how he operates, or how he is perceived to operate, and will the CSS shift how they operate? So, for example, the caller from Kericho who says these are old faces, we know them, they won't have fresh ideas. That could be an indictment on how they then engage the public as CSS and get those ideas from the public, from the different stakeholders, so that it enriches your policy making. CSS should not be seen or should not be a monopoly of policy ideas in the country. Kenyans, there are very many competent Kenyans. We have got institutions, we've got our universities, we've got so many people in the country, our diaspora, who can contribute to the fresh ideas of this. So if I see, if we see them take public participation seriously, that has been one of the key issues that Kenyans have not, the Kenyans have raised as having not been done well. And we saw it even in the Committee on Appointments. At first, when I saw at the initial stages, they were reading some comments from the SMS.
It's come from our constituents.
It's come from a constituent. And, I'm in some WhatsApp groups with some of those guys, and, we're engaging them there. Maybe they're picking something from there. It felt like, that has never happened before. Actually, we didn't see that in 2022. But it was done in such a lip service way.
Yep.
2 minutes, we're just telling you what some guys are saying. What do you think? Move on.
Yeah.
As opposed to what I've advocated for earlier, that at least should have brought one person in, Swami kwa doc, and give evidence.
You have raised serious concerns about this candidate. Engage.
Tell us.
Right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't feel that, you don't see that. I think it also goes back to how the president went about to nominate them. Because the law gives him leeway. The law gives the president leeway. You nominate whoever you want to nominate, however you want to nominate. But we, the people, are going to tell you whether we accept them or not through the parliamentary process. Now, the leeway, we will tell the leeway by the characters that are forwarded. This one who was rejected, the MP said she does not have the competence for the docket. She does not grasp the docket. She does not understand the weight of this docket. Its gender, its culture. It's basically like she doesn't understand the level of cabinet secretary and the job. So you wonder, how did she get onto the president's list? Because that's a big question. How did this candidate, who even MPs are like, aye, madam, how did she get onto the president's list? So how was the president picking them? You'd have expected the president has sat down with each of these candidates and asked them questions, right? So I want to gauge whether you understand government. I want to gauge whether you are somebody who actually can give me counsel as is required of you by the law. I want to see whether you're somebody who will sit there, and if we are saying that we are declaring war to a different country, you will actually put that into consideration. You'll think about the nation. You'll think about the impact of what we are about to vote on. And then the person who goes in there cannot even answer a question about a ministry, cannot talk about. That tells you that the process was flawed from how they got into the president's list. It's an indictment on the president.
This is the first time we've had this. Remember when we had earlier interviews for the East African community, we had a case in point where there was an appointee who knew, well,
the ambassadors.
Yes. We saw how that went, didn't we?
We saw. GDP is...
which country is it again?
What's the GDP of DRC?
GDP is the country which is actually next to DRC.
Back to the phone lines. Amos in Nairobi, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
How are you?
I'm very fine. Now, my contribution...
Yes.
There is zero confidence on the cabinet because most of these people, they're not new to us. They've been with us, but nothing much we've seen which maybe we can address that has been positive. Then again, when you go back to the betting, when you hear the reasons given by the MPs about the one who was rejected, then it seems like they were just looking for, maybe they were judging by how you can speak, how fluent you can speak. Because now, maybe in terms of speaking, you are not that fluent, but in terms of competence, you're competent. So look at some who are having integrity issues, but because they were able to speak fluently, some good English, then that one now covers almost everything, and now they were given green light. And again, we don't see, because as you were told, we had that the president advises them on how to advise him. So what has changed?
Amos, thank you. John in Nakuru, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
What do you think? Will this inspire confidence?
I've got no confidence in these people. In the first place, these are the people who are very critical to the government. And the way I see it is just wamewekwa kwenye mtego. This is what is a political suicide. In the first place, they are minority. And even when they are coming to the cabinet meetings, there's nothing they can talk which will at least give confidence to the community, to the people of Kenya.
All right. Thank you, John. Blackwater in Mombasa.
Morning, guys. How you guys doing today?
Fine. Thank you, Blackwater. How are you today?
I'm good. I'd like to say hello to the other fellow. I'm also an alma mater starting school.
Hey, good stuff. Nice to meet you.
Good stuff. At least we're the straightforward people. Now, zero confidence. You ask yourself this question. When you look at the people who he brought back, here we have Muga men who flattered and then all the wealth he has stolen from the people on national TV. What do you expect him to do? You move Churchill to where Muga men was to go and finish the deals. Now we have the Adani thing going through, Then we have people like Mandi. Do you think he can check the president? Everything is already muddied. So you're just going in there with your clean clothes to just get more muddier. So basically, like the other gentleman said, his political career is in jeopardy. Because there's nothing that these guys are going to do. Everything is set. And the president knows that, and we know that. We're just playing around with it. Remember last time when I called, I said, this whole thing is a joke. And we can see it. How do you ask yourself this question? When you have so much money, why do you need that job? We have people like Wahome saying that, oh, I need this job. This lady has worked for 40 years as a lawyer. We have people, young people who don't have jobs, who are more qualified than her right now, who are more energetic, who have new ideas that the governors from Mombasa and the other governor from Kakamega don't even have. These are the people that we should have tapped. But here we go. We're just going back in the cycle, treadmill, so that we can benefit. Baba has put those people, probably Baba wants to leave. He's 90, 80, 79, 80. So he told them, hey, here, I promised you Minister for Lands. Here, I'm giving you my name. Buddy, you wanted to be a finance guy? Here, have it. And the other man, I forget his name. You can also have this position.
It's
now, this party has young people. Huh?
It's called Opio Wandai.
Opio Wandai and Kakamega, Oparanya.
Yes.
Okay, he should be thinking about his kids instead of him wanting to sit on the chair. You know what I mean? It doesn't make no sense. Now, if you look at the ODM party, basically what they've done is they've left younger people in there. So probably Baba was saying, listen, I had to give 2 deputy party leaders. Now, this thing has helped me. I've released these guys, and I'm going to let the party run as it is. Now, you young people take over. I'm stepping out. I'm going to AU and retire. I mean, that's my take.
And the young people are Oparanya.
No, Oparanya is the ministry. These guys are doing the government. He pushed them out of the party.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, so the young people are left in the ODM to take over.
Okay, thank you, Blackwater. Let's take a break. We continue this conversation. 27 minutes to 10. Does the president's new cabinet inspire confidence? They are currently being sworn in at State House, Nairobi. We have seen them taking their oath of office. They were already appointed last night, after Parliament approved their appointment yesterday in the afternoon. We'll be back shortly. Our guest this morning is Con Omore Osendo, governance and political economy expert.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
What? My head is aching, shoulders paining, and it's like I'm adding weight very fast.
Now, by the way, see, I thought you are...
Nilifikiri umefanya ile kitu. No, I know what you are thinking. I'm not pregnant. Not now.
Now, when you haven't heard about Aga Khan Hospital, they have a wellness program.
Aga Khan University Hospital has made medical checkups more available through their subsidized wellness package at 9,950 for a comprehensive medical checkup. Don't wait for a health scare. Do your health check at the Aga Khan University Hospital clinics in your neighborhood today. Get your vitals checked today. Call 0111 011 888 for more information.
Hey, baba boy, gas imeisha, shopping imeisha, na ujue tokens bado zinalia.
Msupa, nipe mbao na 20 minutes.
Mbao, like 20 bob. 20 minutes, kwani kuna nini? Na ujue mimi nataka kupika haki.
Jaber, kwani ujui dakika mamilini every 20 minutes, halafu wanapea na 10 million every 20 minutes, na hadi kuna 3 millionaires every hour.
Taka mamili virahisi. Uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa millionaire kila awa. Usipitwe. Cheza daka. Ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account Spice amount. Cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka mita kuwa bingwa.
The weather with SpiceFM.
All right, it's warming up in Nairobi. It's currently 15 and partly sunny. Mombasa 26 and sunny. Malindi 27 and sunny. The new city in the country, Eldoret City, 18 and sunny. Mombasa City, we've just said 26 and sunny. Nakuru City, 18 and sunny. Nyeri is 16 and cloudy. Kakamega is 24 and cloudy. Dar es Salaam is 27 and cloudy. Kampala 25 and sunny. Johannesburg 14 and sunny, Kinshasa 22 and sunny, Addis Ababa 18 and cloudy, Mogadishu mostly sunny at 27 and Lagos, Nigeria 25 and sunny. Beijing is sunny at 34, New York is mostly cloudy at 19, London is sunny at 16 and Paris sunny at 18.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life.
Still nothing to report about when it comes to traffic. All the roads are looking pretty clear. My map is green this morning. It usually has reds. Today, no reds, just green. There are several roadblocks that have been erected along various roads. If you find them, just be patient. They'll allow you to pass.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The cabinet inspire confidence. Here's Joho.
Discharge of my duties as cabinet secretary, and that I will perform the function of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Hassan Ali Joho, new cabinet secretary for mining and blue economy.
You know, looking at Ali Hassan Joho, and I was thinking, it is truly amazing what relentlessness can achieve. Because if you look at Joe's background, I know a little bit about his background, one would not have slated him as one of the people who would end up being a cabinet secretary in this country. No. Let's start with even a governor. Let's start with even an MP. Because it's been a steady rise. Steady. Progressively. Evil too. He has dared to do things that other people probably don't dare, and here he is. So now when you look at this and he tells you that he would one day want to be president, would you put it beyond the realms of possibility? Yes. The odd thing about politics is that it always presents you with that dichotomy of probabilities. And sometimes the most improbable is what seems to take the day. Yes.
Chris Mora says the nominees, the UDA side was picked by Ruto as he wished, then the others were forced on him by Raila. Hope the arrogance will stop. Just remember the petrol station manager, the DRC guy. No confidence. The CSAs with graft cases just for the government to protect them. CSAs are the principal advisors to the president. Why another set of plus 10 advisors? Why, what have they achieved? These governors have given Baba lots of money before. Hey, surely. Hey. When Joho said he'll support in 2027, wait. Zero has disappeared. Kenyans, you heard what Junet was saying about the ODM MPs put in cabinet by Raila, applauding them. How will the same ODM check government? Okay. So all these comments are basically just saying, all right, so what do we expect that's going to be different from this?
Well, let me ask the question. Do you think, since there is this belief that, I don't think it's entirely true if you ask me, that the president doesn't actually listen to anybody other than himself? I don't think that is true. It isn't possible for anybody to be the head of state of a nation and you only listen to yourself. So, no, it's impossible. Information will be brought to you, whether you like it or not. It's just the nature of the job. You will be confronted with things you may not particularly want to hear, but you'll be confronted with it. It's just part of the job. But if we take the view that he more or less micromanages, again, I don't believe this to be true. Okay, micromanaging is very difficult, by the way. And for a government, one could argue it's almost impossible. You can think, you can try, but to actually successfully micromanage? No. But there'll be people who will take instructions. There'll be people who are beholden to you. So now the question I want to ask is, these people who, as we have heard from our listeners, were brought in by Baba, who do you think they're going to be listening to?
Where?
Yep. So it's a listening game. Listening chairs.
So who is the appointing authority?
Yes, Eric, you've understood it. If we take that view, who are they going to be listening to? And how loudly are they going to be listening to? Remember, there is the voice of the appointing authority, whether it's the president, whether it's Raila Odinga, and then there's something called the voice of the people. Okay? And in the recent past, it's been very loud. Which voice are they going to listen to?
The question is, are they listening to the voice of the people? Because going back again to that oath that they are swearing, right? It is to the Republic of Kenya. And by saying the Republic of Kenya, it's the people.
Yes.
It's the people. Will they listen to the people? Is there anything that makes you feel that, these guys are coming in, they're getting into office, and they know that all eyes are on them? I looked at part of the debate in the House yesterday in the afternoon, and no, we're moving on. There was even a call of, these Gen Zs, see, Serikali, now we have formed a government. It's a government of, it's a broad-based. If you want Ruto out, you wait for your turn. If you want to change anything here, wait for your turn.
Same Madarao attitude that we have been seeing all along.
Those MPs were not saying if you want Ruto out. They were saying if you want us out of office.
It is the same Madarao attitude because you failed to
tukutane kwa uwanja 2027.
That's the Madarao attitude. They failed to understand it's like somebody has been shouting and telling you something and you failed to hear. Forget understanding. That's the next step. Just hearing it, you have failed. Because it's like, the danger is gone. We can talk back and do the things we were doing before. Really?
And trying to shepherd you into the thing that they know. It's basically these are pigs trying to drag you into the pigsty.
Yeah.
Okay? We know the game of an election in Kenya.
Yep.
So if you want anything, you wait. Follow the constitution. Kuja kwa ground.
Come on our terms.
Come to the pigsty. Come and meet us there. We
get
show
muddied.
you dust.
Get muddied.
We show you dust.
Yes.
Who are they listening to, or who will they listen to?
Yes.
And a very crucial question. And I like how maybe it's not a mistake, or it's not the drafters of the Constitution and that oath and how it was drafted. Republic, listen to the people. Constitution and all laws ensure that you know,
serve the people,
and you serve that Constitution and uphold it. Then is when you can be a good advisor
to the president,
true counselor to the president. But there are two things that oath also has. In between the Constitution and laws and advising the president, the dignity of that office and how you carry it. And at the end, the very hard word to pronounce, conscientiously. Doing your work well and doing it thoroughly. I mean, if
at all times, let your conscience be clear that you were upholding this oath.
Yes.
In every action, this is what you are doing.
Yeah. I mean, the random sample of calls and feedback we've already had is basically 99% no confidence. These guys have such a huge task to rebuild that trust that the people have lost in this cabinet or in cabinet. Huge task to rebuild that trust. And they need to start it from today.
Even when you say, when the oath says you will be true and faithful counselor to the president, is not to the president for his political survival. It's not to the president for his own expediency. It is, I will be true and faithful counselor to the president for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Kenya.
Very clear.
It's still going back into, you are starting with what is good for the country, and you will tell the president what's good for the country. Not what's good for him. It's what's good for the country. Even if you went back and said, I was advising the president, I know at that point things were thick, and we needed to advise the president. You can be told, your oath tells you, did you advise the president on what is the best interest of the Republic of Kenya and the people?
Yeah.
Right? And that's the weight of this thing. I mean, like you said, Con, it's a weighty issue. Do they get it? They don't, in my opinion. None of these people who are swearing in this oath get it. Because particularly the 10 who've been brought back, if any of them had in good conscience gotten what was being said here, they would have declined their appointment. They would have said, Mr. President, the people spoke. We let the country down. Collective responsibility. I worked my bottom off to serve the people. But my colleagues who sat with me in this cabinet did not. And collectively, the people said, out you lot. Thank you very much. Lakini nipatia lighter duties. That would have been the best thing. But they don't get it. They just want, I want, I'll get it back there.
See, the acceptance of the positions, as you correctly put it, Eric, and the discussions around it by the same political class tell us two clear things. One, what their view of the job is. One, it is not to serve the people. And two, what they think of the citizenry who actually gave them this job and who paid their salaries. It is that the things you would assume would be at the center of their focus is not at the center of their focus. No. And the reason why they have accepted these jobs is not to serve the interests of the people. That's what they will say. It is not. It is not.
It would be interesting, yes, and it would be interesting to see how then we move on from here, because what we have been used to as Kenyan is the midterm of this administration is in February, and we've always seen that post midterm we go into election mode.
Yeah.
Yet there are so many things that Kenyans are waiting on the government to deliver to them. Will it be business as usual?
Yes. Oh, was that a rhetorical question?
At about 8 p.m. yesterday, close to 8 p.m., the president gazetted the appointment of this new CSS. Okay?
Yeah.
At about 8:09 p.m. yesterday, Kipchumba Murkomen tweeted, "He is not here, for he is risen." Matthew 28:6. What do you think he's saying? He is not here, for he is risen.
That should be City's proverb for tomorrow.
Absolutely not.
It's Kipchumba likening this to say, you know what?
I was down.
I'm up. Second list of life.
But let me ask you a question.
Got in the redemption.
The analogy of the risen presumes that there's a time when you are dead.
Yep.
So now you are alive. Is that really our situation?
When
the dead arises, I'm extending the discussion.
Yeah.
If the dead arise, we assume that they become alive. What then do we call a situation where the dead arise and they are still dead?
The Walking Dead.
See? You see, we accept and we understand that change is incremental and change is a process. We understand all this. But within that same process is a live situation and a live reality in the country of people who do not know where the next meal is going to come from, and that number is increasing. Of people who are trained and have gone for training and have gone and have been schooled and expect that it is something that could engage them, whose numbers are increasing every single year. There is an outcry that is not being listened to. It has started very politely, very, very politely, very politely. Hey, excuse me, here we are with these numbers and these are the issues we're talking about, okay? We are talking of Bangladesh as though it's another solar system. It's on this planet. It started exactly the same way. Exactly. The students here, young people had a complaint, the citizenry joined them, and the numbers became overwhelming. It was progressional. It didn't happen in a day. Why? Because the things that were being spoken of were not being heeded. We are replicating a situation here. They were being dealt with strong arms, police, paramilitary groups within the police. The Bangladeshi situation got to a point where the military was told to join, they refused. You have a situation where listen to this, the police service in Bangladesh have resigned and they're seeking protection. they were harming the public. Over 400 people have died in that country. Maybe the numbers are more. And again, from these, we are seeing something that is so similar to our situation. I am asking the question, why aren't these leaders looking at this thing? And if it happened, what makes you think it can't happen here?
They can see, and that's why they're saying, stop the anarchy. Okay? Because we have seen what happened to Sri Lanka. Do they now have a functioning government? We are seeing what is happening to, what's this country you just said? Bangladesh, right? So the president is out. Do we now have any semblance of stability in that country? We saw what happened in Sudan. We saw what happened in other countries. This route that you're taking, we have seen it elsewhere. That's what the politicians are saying. The politicians are saying, if you remove us, you have no one else.
How utterly nonsensical.
and as these ones get into office, if there is no significant reset already, just from the public sentiments about this cabinet, there's no reset.
Yeah.
But if there's no reset, then in how things are run in this country, the public are going to keep this government very busy.
Yep.
And they'll not even deliver anything. And that could be an indictment on them in the next election.
That won't really be a problem, because the issue of delivery, even now, when the public has not been what you refer to as a bother, the delivery, tell me, when the neediest of our society gets needier and the numbers increase, what are you doing? What are you doing? When people can't afford basics, what are you doing? And it's against a backdrop of the most vulgar display of wealth with this same class. Unapologetically. Look at the utterances that are coming out of Parliament right now. We are back to being shown the middle finger again. Now this can't go on indefinitely. That's the problem. The time for change is when you still have the power to make the moves that represent change. Then what do you do when those moves are checkmated?
What is the strategy here, political economist? What is the strategy by the political class? Where are you out? We'll continue doing this. We have played the long game before. We play our game in 5-year cycles and 10-year cycles. Let's see, Gen Z, can you play a game in 5-year cycles? Is that it? Because as you can see, they're trying to push the people towards the next election. Let's not have a conversation now, boss, okay? We have put an elastoplast on this wound. Can we now talk about the next one? We can wear you out. We can wait it out. Can you?
It's not even a wound. It's an elastoplast on a broken leg.
It's complete, yeah, and it's bleeding.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean that's been the assessment that that many of us are seeing. That old tactics, old responses that we've seen being applied in the past to a disaffected public or to a protesting public are being applied to this in the last 2 months that we've had, whether it's police brutality, whether it's the abductions, whether it's again being shown the middle finger by the elected leaders and trying to get things back to a normalcy that the politicians prefer. But I think, and I want to think, that we've seen a different kind of public outcry. We've seen a different kind of a demand for accountability that I hope will be sustained. We've had all this demand for accountability coming in all sorts of structures, whether it's through institutions, whether it's through feedback. This time it came with in a huge flood and pushed these politicians to a place where they said, hey, this has caught us flat-foot. And so you're going to have that ebb and flow between the political class and the people.
Yeah.
Now, the demands are clear from the people. If the political class are not going to change how things are done, are not going to shift how we manage our resources, are not going to institute policies that improve the lives of Kenyans and be transparent about it, they should expect this same reaction.
And today is one of those days.
Yes.
The youth are saying we're coming out. Not just the youth. It is people who are saying we want to raise our voice. There are those who will come out into the streets to raise their voices. Others will be raising their voices in various other fora. Those who are commenting on our social media. Those who will be posting on social media and saying what they're saying. And the government being asked, do not listen. Do not react. The president said yesterday, avoid violence at all costs. Ruto and the police tell would-be protesters. Who brings the violence? The police are telling the protesters don't bring violence. It also comes coincidentally that a senior official from the U.S. State Department was in the country and talking about the same thing, and in fact met the president yesterday, criticizing the Kenya Kwanza government's handling of protests, demanding immediate action against rights violators. The visiting U.S. Department of State Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, Uzra Zeya, expressed her country's concern with police brutality, saying it's in breach of Kenya's constitution. She said, I condemned violence committed against peaceful protesters, human rights defenders, and journalists. I called for the protection of the fundamental freedoms, peaceful assembly and expression as enshrined in the Constitution. I also underscored the importance of security forces exercising restraint, rejecting violence, and prompt investigations of and accountability for disappearances, excessive use of force, and other rights abuses. I encouraged President Ruto to take action on his recent pledges to strengthen the rule of law, to champion anti-corruption initiatives, and advance accountability in his government. What are they saying, Con?
They're not saying anything new. I mean, those are the things that Kenyans have demanded for all along, demanded for in the last 2 months. But you're seeing, I mean, just a few months ago, we had the president and a strong delegation go to the US for an official state visit, a rare one for an African president, get all sorts of goodies, ensure that this is a relationship that is strong. But the same people that we went to are now coming to say, look, yes, we're friends, but we think you're not doing X, Y, Z right. It's
when they come out publicly to say so, they say so quietly. You never get to hear of it. What you know is that someone has come to visit, some senator.
Yeah, there's a senator also, yeah.
Yes, some congressman. You see that. But when they actually
And the
come out
secretary in charge
of is talking, the message doesn't get clearer. But then again, what is this message? We've heard it, but what exactly are they saying?
And even had a call from the, I think, Secretary of State.
Yep.
Yes.
Secretary of State spoke about the same thing, protect the civilians. The U.S. Embassy has been sending statements, and now the person in charge of civilian security and human rights in the State Department comes herself
personally
to meet the president and say this and speak publicly. That message
in the country
is very loud.
And which means if there'll be protests today, how the citizens are treated will come under very, very serious scrutiny. I think we've seen, I mean, the police have said it before that, we have got an intel that this will be infiltrated. But it's funny that it's always said that it'll be infiltrated, but when you see the clips come in, you see looters, you see all sorts of guys doing the thing, and there's no proactive.
If information has been infiltrated, it means you know, don't you?
You even know where they are probably, or where they'll come from.
All right, it's news time. We've got to end it here. Conor Sendo, governance and political economy expert, thank you very much for joining us today at 10 a.m. Have a lovely day, people. Make it peaceful. See you tomorrow. We'll keep this live stream on so that you can all hear what I'm sure the president will have some remarks to his new cabinet. Let's hear that. So we'll keep it on, and then we'll switch off the live stream after this. News time first.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. The swearing ceremony for the new cabinet secretaries is taking place at State House, Nairobi, following their approval by the National Assembly on Wednesday. Kithure Kindiki was the first to be sworn in to serve in the Interior Docket. She was followed by Soipan Tuya, who will serve in the Ministry of Defense.
I, Kithure Kindiki, being appointed a cabinet secretary of Kenya, do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect and uphold this Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic.
That I undertake to hold my office as Cabinet Secretary with honor and dignity, that I will be a true and faithful counselor to the President for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Kenya.
Meanwhile, newly appointed cabinet secretaries, their families and friends had to go through thorough security checks as they headed to the State House for the swearing-in ceremony, given that protesters had threatened to head to the premises. Anti-riot police have been deployed to roads around the House on the Hill and other state lodges across the country. Police have mounted roadblocks on major roads and streets in and around Nairobi as part of efforts to address threats by protesters to occupy other major installations. Along the Thika Superhighway in Nairobi, one of the major roads leading to the city, there is a police checkpoint. Police have also mounted a roadblock at City Stadium along Jogoo Road. In other news, authorities have mobilized multi-agency teams to track and trap a hyena that mauled a woman to death in Juja, Kiambu County. Police say the animal attacked Nancy Njoki on Wednesday morning as she returned home from a local market. Njoki joins a worryingly growing list of people who've been killed in the same area by hyenas. KWS says it has deployed the Problem Animal Management Unit and mobilized a veterinary unit to relocate the animal from the human-dominated area. The State Department for Environment and Climate Change has developed an online platform to track the climate and disaster risk levels faced by children in the country. The Children's Climate and Disaster Risk Model, launched in partnership with UNICEF and other stakeholders, illustrates how children and their communities are at risk due to climatic and related shocks and stressors. The tool provides multi-sectorial evidence to inform strategic and sustainable climate programming, showing where and how children are at risk based on various indicators. It also offers localized evidence for strategic local climate action with a special focus on children and their development support system. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
Sir, I now invite Dr. Andrew Muhia Karanja, PhD, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development.
Andrew Muhia Karanja, being appointed a Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect, and uphold this Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, and I will well and truly serve the people and the Republic of Kenya in the office of the Cabinet Secretary that I undertake to hold my office as Cabinet Secretary with honor and dignity, and that I will be a true and faithful counselor to the President for the good management of the public affairs of the Republic of Kenya, that I will not diverge directly or indirectly such matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties and committed to my secrecy, except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as Cabinet Secretary. That I will perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability. So help me God.